Durham International Airport climate summary is of 10 a.m., December 30th, 2020. So far today, the low temperature has been 26
Dutch
degrees.
locks are showing, bro.
This low was 5 degrees below the normal low of 31.
So what I'm about to,
0 degrees, which was set in
put here.
No precipitation has fallen, which leaves the monthly total at
episode 159. Micmac by Clearwater.
Above the normal amount of 2 inches for December. The total precipitation for the year still stands at 54.72 inches, which is 11.47 inches above normal. Which brings the monthly total to snow.
See what it between SoundCloud and HTTPS, they didn't put a space. They put a carriage return. And the problem was that space don't show. But no, it doesn't matter. But I was planning on doing this.
72, which occurred in 1929, and the record low is 5, which occurred in 1917. Sunset tonight is at 5:11 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow is at 7:25 a.m. At the Rocky Mount Wilson Airport, this morning's low was 26 degrees. No precipitation has been reported in the last 24 hours.
There we go. That has the
current time is 9:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The air quality forecast for Thursday, Orange County is 45, or code green. Air quality is polluted. A small particulate. Well,
I just have to do this.
Radio, all hazards, station WXL58, operating on frequency 162.55 megahertz.
What the
This program originates from the National Weather Service in Raleigh and is transmitted from an antenna located on the UNCV tower near Chapel Hill. The station serves the northeast Piedmont of North Carolina.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, fuck it. Every time I click the mouse, the radio's gonna fuck up because they're connected somehow.
North Carolina.
Why is my mouse accessing the internet? Exactly.
The flood warning continues for the News River at Smithfield.
Oh, 2 full minutes delay.
At 7:15 p.m.
Is there a reason there's no fucking cursor? Jesus
Flood
Christ.
stage is 15.0 feet.
And this is why I usually just do this. When I cut and paste the link.
Recent activity. The maximum river stage in the 24 hours ending at 7:15 p.m. Wednesday was 15.4 feet. Forecast. The river is expected to rise to a crest of 15.6 feet early tomorrow afternoon. It will then fall below impact at 15.0 feet. Flooding begins along the News River Walk. Water nears the base of the holding tank at the water treatment plant. Flood history. This crest compares to a previous crest of 15.0 feet on October 13, 2018. Here is the latest weather synopsis. A weak warm front will move through the area overnight. It will return once again on Thursday as a backdoor cold front, stalling across the area in the process on Friday. This will bring about a period of cloudy skies, occasional showers, and areas of fog to close out the week. Periods of showers will linger into the weekend before high pressure settles back over the area early next week. Here is the latest Weather Service forecast.
Holy shit!
Raleigh and vicinity.
No, I knew I owned these, and I
cloudy with a 40% chance of rain. Patchy fog this evening.
Well, I know.
Areas of
ones
fog.
in there with the red ones.
Not as cool.
We got blue matches and red matches in the same pack.
Around 5 miles per hour. Thursday, areas of fog in the morning. Cloudy with a 50% chance of rain.
A little bit of water.
Not as cool with highs around 60.
We'll make this dirt
Southwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Thursday night, rain. Patchy fog after midnight. Lows in the mid-40s. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain 90%. New Year's Day, rain. Cooler with highs around 50. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain 90%. Friday night, showers likely, mainly in the evening. Areas of fog after midnight. Lows in the upper 40s. Temperature rising into the lower 60s after midnight. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Becoming south after midnight. Chance of rain 70%. Saturday, partly sunny. Much warmer. Near steady temperature in the mid-60s.
If it pauses,
chance of rain 50%.
Cuts in and out.
Saturday night, rain likely. Lows in the mid-50s. Chance of rain 70%. Sunday, partly sunny. Highs in the lower 60s. Temperature falling into the mid-50s in the afternoon. Sunday night and Monday, mostly clear. Lows in the upper 30s. Highs in the mid-50s.
Okay.
Monday night, mostly clear. Lows in the lower 30s. Tuesday, sunny. Highs in the mid-50s. Tuesday night and Wednesday, mostly clear. Lows in the mid-30s. Highs in the mid-50s. Here are the 9 p.m. observations for the Northeast Piedmont. At the Raleigh-Durham Airport, light rain and fog were reported.
Well, I don't know what you just did, but you're already jamming up parts of my groove. About to watch the audience rip and the tailor, but I can change your pocket swift. It ain't wet, but you about to see this body slip. Ribbon, not on fuck with no gimmicks. Still, my homie got a vision, but I think it goes. I was fucking up. See, I'm only trying to show you how the controls work, and they don't work for fuck all. Imagine that. I must be making all this shit up because I caught schizophrenia disease from hanging out with niggers. Because I walk on my tiptoe. I don't know. They told me all this shit. Somehow it's all true, right? Oh. Fuck. I don't like the sound of that. You run up on the trap, races on the mouth of that. You gon' need a shower cap, and you put it power now.
62.
See how instantaneous that is? Oh, I just gotta show you also. Oh, you won't believe what part of myself I heard this, man. Come on, motherfucker, you gotta fucking delay and jam up everything in. Holy fuck. What the fuck it mean to you? I thought y'all was humble rappers. City fucking trash, but they stay fucking platinum humble rappers. Tell me what they say about you on the rap. Y'all are so skilled, so ill and so real. Real recognized, real, and y'all with a slow milk. At least I like to think. Y'all stay popping bottles, I guess you like to drink. White eye, but like to blink. I ain't the size of rings, wait, but it's safe and pink. Y'all think I'm robbing the truth of rub when I'm a bitch. And I ain't talking about chains, bro. You hustle slang, yeah, yo, stay scraping chains, though. I stay making cake, my lanes. Wherever hip hop started, the man just said ice the size of rings. You gotta know hockey, even if you don't like it, to fucking know that. Or figure skating, I guess. But what do they call it? Do they call it a skating rink? It's not a hockey rink. At the community center, it's a hockey rink. At Nathan Phillips Square, it's a skating rink. We should all go down there and have a big game fucking hockey game. Fuck you rappers, made me catch a body quick. A6, you about to watch the audience rip. Ain't a tailor, but I can change your pocket swift. It ain't wet, but you about to see this froggy slip. Ribbon, not on fuck with no gimmicks. Yo, my homie got a vision, but I think he gon' spin it. Even Pop, I couldn't save you if you stay with the heaters. In this business, if you cross it, you finish. Keep your enemies close and your friends at a distance. They say money makes you see shit. I got all types of visions. Multi-encrypted, kinda like the life that I'm living. Everything within reach, I got my multi-encrypted. That's like a little tidbit, like what? The people that don't know won't even think about it. And some people be like, you must be talking about Bitcoin. Those are Dutch locks. If they look tangled, you see me in jail combing my hair all day with my hands. Why? Because I'm trying to stay clean. Do I do it outside of myself? No. Fuck you rappers think you want to catch a body quick. Like room. Fuck you rappers, don't bother with that. You say house, it's like you live there. Your room, you should stay in a room at a hotel, right? These assholes here call their apartment their room. Y'all find them well. They're talking about rooming house. Or psych ward hospital room. Now, this is my unit. This is my studio. So I did have to reshuffle because I did the thing.
Keep it on the
I just had to check. There's 4 more episodes, 60, 61, 62, 63, something like that, about
keep my gun on my waist.
an open pit gold mine and a caribou herd.
With me in a shoot around the way. Keep an extra clip.
Yeah, it's not to say it's not worth dealing with. I can't give it the appropriate attention today.
Keep my gun on my waist.
Oh, if you click on that, you're gonna see the others.
Clip with me in a shoot around the way. Keep an extra clip with me in a shoot.
I'll put my foot through your face like you were trespassing. Beat you down just for asking. This is one about the dollar. The need for the dollar. Which one?
Hi, Max Kaiser. This is the Kaiser Report. Are you following Max and Stacy on our Telegram?
Oh, it's this one.
We're there 24 hours
dollar,
a day.
less relevant.
Just talking to people. It's t.me/.
Okay, you know what?
Orange
I've
pill.
been trying to pull that one up for a month. I think just before I got arrested.
We've got about 8,000 in there now. Going to be
December.
the liveliest party on planet Earth. So, Stacy, remind me again what's happening in the world.
62, 61, 60,
Right.
59,
Well, the big news in the
58
past
November.
week
Yeah,
is at
so
the end
this
of
was
last week,
before I got arrested.
a video was released of a conversation between the former Bank of England head Mark Carney,
And who?
now interviewing people for the Council on Foreign
Is he
Relations.
claiming he got
So
catfish?
very powerful
But there's photos
organization in
proving it wasn't
America.
catfish. No, it was
And
really,
Larry Fink, who
it
is the
is.
CEO of BlackRock, the largest asset management firm in the world. They have $7 trillion under management. So,
That's
you know, Larry Fink is
that's
like untouchable,
7,000,
right? Like he's probably more powerful than the president. And
100
he
times
said
100
to
times
Mark
100 is a
Carney,
million. 1,000 times
good.
1,000
We
is a
look at
million.
it as something
1,000
is
times 1,000
real,
times 1,000 is a
but it's
billion.
still
1,000
untested.
times
It still
1,000 times
it
1,000
still
times
has
1,000
many.
is a trillion.
We have to go through many markets to
I'm
see if
pretty
it's,
sure
if it's
the
going to be
fifth set
permanently
of
real, or
3 zeros,
it's going to be a
15
variant
zeros
of
after
that
the numerate
sometime in the
numeral
future.
would be
Lastly, we're
quadrillion.
running out of
I may
time.
be
I would
wrong,
just
but I'm pretty
say
sure. Now, in the encyclopedia,
having a digital currency has real impact on the U.S. dollar. Because
back in
having
days,
a digital
supposedly
currency makes the
Britain,
need for the U.S.
a
dollar to be
million
less
million was a
relevant.
billion. But in the U.S.,
and so
1,000 million was
I'm
a
not talking
billion.
about for Americans, I'm talking about for
It's
international
just what was in the
holders
fucking
of
books this
dollar-based
thick I used to
assets.
read.
The question I
It's
would
mere North
raise,
America. I never
you know,
found out
maybe
this shit.
another time, Mark and I
I'll
could
skip
talk
back
about
to
it.
that later. Later, I'll skip back to that. Got the receipts. Maybe after this skinny little split up.
The demon is a liar. He would like to confuse us. But he will also mix lies with the truth to attack us. The attack is psychological, powerful. So don't mix. Remember that. Do not mix.
Oh, I can leave it sitting out all day. That battery be full. I go outside for 5 minutes, taking it off the charger.
Trying to step in our way, man. Your rap will get pop. Got homies on every corner, not afraid to get
My only
shot.
concern is when I come inside, I don't want to put it on the charger right away because the battery's cold. I don't want it to explode.
Step away from the light, cause I'm the devil in disguise.
And only pressing buttons because moisture will get in there, condensation. I'll press the buttons as soon as I get in, but once I've been in there for about 30 seconds, I don't press no buttons.
I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. What? Yeah, I stole your soul tonight. Devil in disguise. Stole your soul tonight. As you wake up in the dark and not realizing I'm there.
I tried to redial your number, and it came up empty. By the way, this is the voicemail light. I'm going to tell you something, Uniden. We use this to find the phone in the dark. We don't care about voicemail indicators.
Remember the name, call me whatever you like, but let it be told, I'm the devil in disguise and the possessor
Phone
of souls.
companies always coming up with incredible innovations, and we never use them the way they intend. Now, how come pagers had voicemail? It serves no purpose. So cell phones, when they sell them to us, you have to activate the voicemail. We never do. If your voicemail is all on the same server, which usually means the same phone number, but not necessarily, you can send intentional messages, what people used to call the backdoor. Your voicemail light just goes off all of a sudden. Check, you check it, there's voicemail, but your phone didn't ring. Well, intentional messaging. There used to be a site called onebox.com that don't exist anymore. When I was almost at a 1-800 800 number voicemail. And I showed my friends, they all had one too. Your voicemail show up in the email box. That's why it's called One Box. You can listen on the payphone or you can check on the email. Or the website, I should say. I think there might have been an email function that we weren't using. And it could also accept fax calls. The problem is teaching somebody how to send a fax to an extension. They're retarded. Oh, I work in an office, I don't know how to do that. Well, then you should be working in an office. I'm the one looking for work, so it's my fault. I figured out how to enter the phone number, the same box number, like 2 dozen times, 100 times if you want. Record one message, they get 100 copies of it. Yeah, that was me. We're always helping these companies figure out the loopholes in their system.
Mi'kmaq fishers are falsely blamed for threatening fisheries conservation.
Well, you know. They're gonna blame the Indians for ruining the land and sue us. Right.
Yeah, my name is Riley, son. But you know.
Oh, come on. It's not that I don't like these tracks. I need something I can get iTunes, please. I love you, good, but I can't hear that right now. Fucking hell, you've got to be fucking kidding me. That's 3 dozen songs in, eh? It's my playlist. How come I can't find anything I like? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Follow me. Yeah, but I heard that 6 times.
Communication screw-ups at Halibut First Nation leave blueberry.
This is a wonderful fucking playlist here, but where the fuck am I getting high songs? You've got to be fucking joking.
This week.
This is why I didn't shuffle the playlist. This is why the last 2-3 times I don't shuffle the playlist till I have to. The second last time it cleared itself. The last time I just did that now.
Yes, nigga. Word thing, Slim, be out here. Don't get close, nigga.
Bus drivers still picking up.
So don't sleep, no nigga. We are one, won't matter who it is, bound to get the job done. We the Canadians got the shooters behind.
Now, the only reason you couldn't drive a bus as a deaf person in Ontario, to get an Ontario driver's license, you can't be deaf. You also can't be monovisual. But they will let you take the eye test with both eyes open now. They didn't used to do that.
To get our shit up, all the other option is a stick up. Never a 9 to 5, cause I ain't got no day job. From the slums, little homie, when we play hard, you don't wanna see the 30-30 when it sprays hard. The 22 to walk around 3/8 with the beef, the 40 to
30-30 on my side, the shooting nigga, of course, the gold rush.
Didn't even crack to us. Going hard in the booth, this a takeover. Hard in the ground into your face, that's a makeover. 2-5 for a Q. The rest profit.
That album probably was recorded entirely within 96.
Don't push me, cause I ain't in the top. So I ain't scared if you got it. It's in you comparing to. I ain't finished my fair share yet.
I'm not sure.
And I ain't talking about no jump shot.
Someone tells me there's some unreleased stuff when he thought maybe he'd get convicted. Snoop Doggy Dogg, Calvin Dog. And his bodyguard, Bo, shot and killed a man that tried to shoot him in the park.
Fire at your back, it will backfire. Cause my gap's the same size as a blow dryer. Never true in your raps, do some damn liars. Great job, make them spit through the wire. And you don't supply shit to a buyer. I'm the king of gang rap, call me sire. That's hate, but privately you rate and admire. Tell the truth, your rubber grip tight, no pliers. I got it. Take you out, call it quits or retire. You got the 4th room down, 5th flip from up. Bells don't leave shells, so I'm switching up. Be something like a bus driver still picking up. Got your hands in your pocket, nigga, stick them up. Palmer projects, money's no objects. So we finger fuck max, so we bomb pack. Slide in, slide out, cut where we ride out. Down, go.
He gives the center for it. A lot of you think that when it's misaligned like this, it's by accident, it's fucked up. Maybe. But it makes it real easy to do that. That zip tie makes sure it'll never work as a gun ever again. right, officer? You think what you want, but the photographer waited to take this picture until that gun was displayed on this screen at the perfect angle. Now, if this guy was a public figure, and technically he is, you would never allow that to happen in a proper publication such as the Toronto Star.
Didn't see Rob, not run about him close. I ain't going wrong, but I'm clear blood strong till it drops on my car. Till it tiny changes and
they could have gone with Metro Toronto Star. This is the only place with the local newspaper that had a paid circulation teamed up with Metro. The only place that happened as far as I know. Everywhere else is just a standalone free paper. They had to because they were competing with each other. And they knew both sides knew it wasn't going to work. Sam Hop. It's apostrophe standing alone space. Of course. We dropped the O and the S.
Money overflow back on my bullshit. These pumps that I grew with, acting like you're too sick, too no cash making me ever switch sides or babble to the jakes. Almost get my crunch fried, huh? My mind's fried. See, I don't give a fuck. Skank it with a YG, guaranteed we hit them up. Take a nigga slut, man, you know me. Never look back since my first pack in 03. Pack nigga, plus I get busy with these OGs screaming Southside.
Independent soldiers out there don't rock the red bandana and the black bandana because it doesn't work. The public don't even know what that means. I just start doing it, make it simple. If I do it with this one as well, it might work.
All I do is give one nod and he reads the text. Then he breathes the tech. All I do is give one nod, then he breathes the tech. We the Canadians got the shooters behind me. I heard you so wide.
And that's why I never feeling stick tiles on concrete. Now, if I own this bitch, these be done and that epoxy coat the whole fucking place. Walls.
Sleep, nigga, we all one. No matter who it is, bound to get the job done.
I'm gonna roll that second joint. I don't know what's going on here. I'm not getting high enough. Alright, so. You want to improve this application? All the weirdo shit you did to the interface. Yeah, start dumping on the router.
Welcome to Mi'kmaq Matters, a podcast about the Mi'kmaq people and the Halibu First Nation. I'm Glenn. Welcome to Mi'kmaq Matters, a podcast about the Mi'kmaq people and the Halibu First Nation. Welcome to Mi'kmaq Matters, a podcast.
Oh, when I put my hands up like this, all of a sudden it works? Are you fucking serious? Does your computer respond to being emotionally? What's the word?
Slim, we out here. Don't get close, nigga.
Apparently somebody 8 seconds away on the internet. Oh shit! Yeah, whatever you're fucking doing, get out of the fucking way. Can't do this, but they'll still throw you off and move the train if you didn't pay your fare. We're not private police, we're not railroad police, we're military police, we're not the same thing. Don't give a fuck. If you're gonna get in the way, no, we'll let the machinery grind you out, bro. The whole system will shut you up. You can snitch, dry snitch on people all day long. Guess what? Sooner or later, even the cops will listen. You come down.
Niggas saying about they want to make tracks with us before that. Didn't even crack to us. Going hard in the booth, it's a takeover. Hard in the ground into your face, that's a makeover. 2-5 for a cue. The rest
Why do these Caribbean people drink so much rum? It's the sailing culture. That's all they'll tough to go through. The water you can't drink, but the alcohol is safe to drink. Sounds bad, but that's how you survive the next night. All the people I'm gonna drink water, and he died on the boat.
You know the cold hard tracks. Didn't think I was capable.
Didn't think I was capable. 4-5 media. You niggas don't ride something like a flat tire. Ain't a fire at your back, it would be backfire.
And I got my machinery, but he's holding a cup of drink. Real Toronto 2005.
And I'm Michelle. Here's what's making news this hour. Some disturbing COVID-19 numbers out of Toronto today, as the city reported more than 1,000 cases. New rules coming to international travelers. The Canadian government says you'll need a negative COVID test before you enter the country.
Covers part of
Party
the,
leaders
maybe you can't
react
see
to
it
social
all.
media posts uploaded by the provincial finance
It's really
minister,
hard to see. That's a cigarette. It's a picture of a cigarette packet.
which were taken prior to his
It's a picture
vacation
of the front of a
outside of
cigarette
the country.
packet, and the cigarette
The
filter
province is
conveniently
sharing what
covers
is calling the ethical framework
phone
for
number and website address for how to quit. The government's efforts to try to get you to quit.
in Ontario.
For some people, that's a serious issue. They don't want to smoke. They want to quit. They can nail down why they started to somebody else. Yeah, they picked up that cigarette, but it's an addictive drug if it's not.
The Dow closes at a record and a winning day for North
it's how I
American
compensate
markets
for the problems
after
in my
another
lungs.
COVID-19 vaccine gets a thumbs up in the UK.
And my anemia
Business
is
at
considered a
26.
natural appetite suppressant as well as some sort of
680
stimulant.
News
I know it's a
Time,
good thing, so
10:01.
if I'm going to smoke that much anyway, I'm not going to feel the
Here's
withdrawal.
Colette Desjardins.
In the South, 8 days,
Brought
I
to you
didn't.
by your Toronto
Jones
area
wants for
Ford
a cigarette,
dealers. If you're on the westbound 401, it remains closed at the 404.
The
The
air is
collectors for a
fresh,
crash
non-stop high oxygen.
investigation. They've also shut down the ramps from Warden
And after
to get
a
on
certain
to the
number of
westbound
hours or days,
401.
your lungs
And
and
they've
your
also
airways
closed the ramp
adapt
from
to
northbound
proper air.
404 onto the westbound 401. So if you're on
Why
the
is your
westbound
phone all
401
fucked
and you're
up
in the
sometimes?
collectors
There's
behind
no
that
cooling
crash, you're going to
fan.
be
There's no
forced
airflow
to get off at the
It'll overheat.
northbound 404. So from the
This
ramp
A-box
from westbound
thing,
401 to the northbound 404, you can take that
all
up to
sorts of
Shepherd,
space in there.
go
It's
over
not
the
much
overpass,
bigger,
and
but I
then go
wouldn't want it. It won't
southbound
fit in
and
my
get back
pocket
onto the westbound
conveniently with the
401.
phone.
For those of you on the northbound Don Valley Parkway,
There's
it's
towers,
backed
laptops,
up to
things all
approaching the
got fans.
401. What you can do is get off at York Mills and take that over to Leslie to get back onto the westbound 401. Right now on the westbound QEW at Winston Churchill, 2 left lanes are blocked for construction. At
Like
last
these
check, there was really
greenhouses,
no,
they're all douglas. You
like a
need
minor
some sort of
delay,
source of carbon
but really
dioxide.
nothing to talk
I don't know
about.
where they get that in the Arctic.
What I'm noticing right now on the
You can't
camera
pump
is
in
that the
outside air,
intersection
even
of
if you did.
Kennedy and Shepherd has been closed
much
since
carbon
about
dioxide could there
5:30 this
possibly be?
afternoon. Right now, they've
Although
opened up the
without trees,
east and westbound lanes of Shepherd. But if you're going
They want
eastbound
to
on Shepherd, the
terraform
right lane
Mars. They
is
haven't even
blocked still by
terraformed
police,
Earth
but
properly
lanes
yet.
are opening up east and
And I tend to
westbound.
believe that one of the
The Ford
possibilities
year
is that human
event, or the
beings
Ford
and
year end
marijuana both
event,
came
is
here
on
from
now.
some
Get
other
up to
place.
$2,000 in rebates on most
We're not happy
new
anywhere.
2020 Escape models. Contact
Well,
your
go
local
take off all your
Toronto area
clothes and run
Ford
through the
dealer
woods and live
for
like that
all
for
the
the rest of your life.
details.
You'd do
Your
it
next
because you
report at
feel like it
10:11
one
right
day.
now. Let's get the
Exactly.
forecast.
So
Here's
for
Colette.
summary, the monkeys do.
Those rain
Don't give me
showers
this,
will be with
we're
us through
more
the evening,
developed.
and it transitions over to light
Monkeys said
snow
no,
during
no
the
more.
overnight.
I'm
You
happy
may wake
picking
up to a
bugs off my
coating
buddy's
at
back.
best
I'm
for
not doing
areas
this
north of the
driving,
city.
hunting, muddy
Southwest winds will be
papers.
around
Fuck all that.
20 to 40 kilometers per
Make
hour.
a new
Low
nest
-2.
every night, the gorillas.
Feels like -7 when you
When they
factor in
check
the
these
wind for
nests,
tomorrow
they
New Year's
can't
Eve.
find
A really uneventful day. More
bacteria
clouds than
or
sun. A
insects
little
or
bit of
anything.
lake
No
effect snow
pests,
for
nothing.
areas north and east of the city off of Lake Huron.
Your bed that
We will
you
have a
use every
westerly
fucking
wind
day
around
for
20
2
kilometers
years or
per hour
20 years.
with a high of 2
You know
degrees
there's
and a
dust
low
mites
of
and all
-5.
sorts of shit.
Tonight's overnight low is -2.
Right now in downtown Toronto, it's 5 degrees with overcast, but feels like 0. With similar conditions near Toronto Pearson Airport, but a little colder over there. At 4 degrees, feeling like -2. 680
Use
News
energy
Time,
recovery
10:04.
ventilators on greenhouses. Yes, but it's means massive
Another
amounts
day
of
of COVID
heat
records
and
for the
so on.
province and the city. Ontario's case count is just shy of 3,000 and another record. And Toronto makes
They're
up
finally
more
being
than a third
realistic.
of those
That is
cases,
just shy of
reporting a
3,000.
record of
The difference between
1,069
this
new
and
infections.
3,000
There were also 19 new deaths. Hospitalizations are nearing 1,200, and 323 patients are currently in intensive care. Toronto's top doctor, Dr. Eileen Davila, says the city should be prepared for what's likely to come in the next weeks and days ahead.
July,
It's now
August,
reasonable that we should brace for an
80 a day or
extended
something.
period of potentially unsettling
Those,
and
the
discouraging
difference between
numbers
this and
in
3,000
terms
is
of
less than
COVID-19
that.
infections in Toronto. Bearing that in mind, officials are asking you to stay home for New Year's Eve and that you rethink any plans to host or attend a party. Additional measures are also coming. Mayor John Tory announcing free childcare for essential workers during the remote learning period in place because of lockdown measures. Davila adding further measures affecting workplaces next week. 680 News Time, 10:05. At a news conference this afternoon, Federal Minister of Public Safety Bill Blair says heightened security measures are being put in place to help curb the spread of COVID-19.
Can you get the Tim Hortons workers to have one person handle the money and the other person make your coffee, please? There's two of these cocksuckers there. I know, because the one in the back comes out and looks.
Entering the country,
Blair says
it's important for Canadians to keep listening to public health advice.
All due respect to the woman that makes these muffins.
Against all discretionary travel. And if you must travel,
but
understand that
it is a recipe that the companies put. There's a phone number on there if you need help. If you're in the east of Toronto, call this number. If you're in the west, there's somebody that is probably forwarded to some little old lady's got a second phone number.
Consequences.
Oh, you need help with cookies? Yes, please help me, Mom.
CBSA personnel to help remind
Tells you how many centimeters or inches big to make them, and how approximately how much batter that would be.
Could face up to 6 months
How many degrees for how many minutes? I gotta rip off the side of the box. That's another bunch of these.
680 News traffic alert.
Because the muffins are in a muffin pan.
And
The
this is
cookies
Colin
are
Desjardins
just
from
galloping
the
onto a
680
cookie tray.
Traffic Center.
Just
updating West 441 still closed.
I would like
the
a
404 the
perfectly
collectors for a crash investigation.
cylinder-shaped
Emergency
cookie.
crews, of course,
LEDs,
on the
didn't they?
scene. Also, the routes for Warden
It looks like it's
on
made for
westbound
cooking an
401,
egg
they
over
are
a candle
closed.
or something.
And northbound on the 404, the route to the westbound 401 closed, all because of a crash investigation. The 680 Traffic Watch continues. You're listening to 680 News. Ontario is urging everyone to avoid any non-essential travel, especially under the province-wide lockdown. However, this did not stop Provincial Finance Minister Rod Phillips leaving the country for vacation. Now, Premier Doug Ford and other party leaders are reacting to the news. 680's Riley Fitzpatrick joins us with more. Premier Doug Ford spoke publicly for the first time addressing his finance ministers traveling abroad roughly 2 weeks ago. Ford also addressed social media posts uploaded by Phillips in Ontario, which were taken prior to his departure.
This is unacceptable. You know, we're supposed to be the leaders. We can't have a rule for one group of people and stop the rule and go do something else.
As above, so below. Thank you, sir.
The videos as well on social media.
Provincial NDP
just to
leader
be
Andrew
clear,
Horvath
I'll listen to
also
you. I won't
reacted
listen
to
to
Phillips'
Hillier.
posts on social media.
Try to cover it up with these social media posts, and so that shows that, not only a lack of judgment for going in the first place, but a complete lack of integrity. Basically, covering up what he was doing.
Yeah, but this is the guy that borrows the money for us.
There just has to be consequences.
Everything is
Phillips has
placed.
said he is immediately
Remember, you
returning
hired
home
this guy
and
to be a
will
little bit
quarantine for
snaky.
2 weeks upon
Not to
arrival.
necessarily
I'm
bullshit.
Allison Fitzpatrick. 680 News Time, 10:08. An ethical framework.
Did he call them? That's where he was. He said, away. That's how vague I want that guy to be, because he gets phone calls from banks and lenders and
The
creditors.
province is detailing how it's deciding to
Turkish central
distribute
bank
the
said you're giving
COVID-19
them this much
vaccine through its
percentage on these.
three-phase
Well,
plan
fuck
in the coming
God.
months.
You can't
In
say
the
fuck
ethical
God.
framework, 6 principles outlined are minimizing harm and maximizing benefits, equity in the distribution of vaccines without bias or
I think an example
discrimination,
didn't make sense.
fairness, transparency,
aid do we send
legitimacy, and
countries?
public trust.
I was
Associate
sending a
Chief
plane
Medical
full of
Officer of
toys.
Health, Dr. Barbara Yaffe, says the vast amount of immunization will be coordinated through the local public health
Damn it.
units.
The local
Why'd you throw the shit
units
out?
have
Put it
a
in
very
cans.
good sense of what's going on in their
Let
community.
these
They'll be
gangbangers
working
with drug
collaboratively,
convictions, you
obviously,
say we
with
gotta
other
pay a
parts of the
fine. How
healthcare
about this?
system,
I'll
the
agree to pay for
hospitals,
that whole load of
physicians,
milk for that
community health
dollar amount.
centers,
You
paramedics,
give it
and
to
so
me
on.
up front,
And so
and I
they
can
will,
load it on a
within the
plane and send it to
framework set by the
Lebanon.
province for prioritization,
You know I'll
they
pay
will
it,
be
because if I ever want to
directing
get bail
vaccine to
again,
the most
or a
risky
driver's
within
license,
that
or however the
priority
fuck,
group.
if you're from Ontario, you already know.
Kicked
They'll
off
get it
this
from you
month,
one way or
seeing
another.
healthcare workers received the Pfizer
You can get away
doses.
with it for a
Michelle
little while.
Warren.
But
680 News Time, 10:09.
what's 30,000 liters of milk? Let's say it's $30,000. Let's say I agree to pay a $30,000 fine in court. No, sir, I'd like to participate in this food
Police were
donation.
called to the area of Queen
I'll
Street
pay for
West
it,
and
sure.
Portland Street just before
In
9
lieu of
this
paying the
evening.
fine, I'll buy this
EMS saying the
surplus
man
milk
is
so the
bleeding from
government
his
don't
face
use milk.
and has since
And at
been
the same point, we're
transported
not
to
competing
hospital
with
with
the
non-life-threatening
private
injuries. At this time, police are urging any
We'll send it
witnesses
to
to
Lebanon
come
and make the
forward.
government look good, sir.
Coming up in
I
30
have all my
seconds, a
gangbang
look at
buddies
the
come
gas
help load
price.
the plane if you
680
want.
News
So you
Time,
know know we're not terrorists. Anybody touches that plane, we'll kill them with our hands. We all got weapons grants.
You need a loan, but you don't want to go to the bank. So go to H. Williams Pawnbrokers.
They think they're gangsters,
Yes, it's a place to
but
buy and sell,
they're
but
not
it's
us. They're
also a place to
G-men. They're
borrow money
untouchable.
like a bank, but at a
Government.
low rate that's not compounded. Bring in your valuables. H. Williams gives you
We're
money and locks them
gangsters
in their
to be
vault.
gangsters.
Pay your
Gee,
loan
this
back,
government.
get your stuff back. They're licensed and have been loaning money for over 70 years. Go see them in their safe environment. H. Williams Pawnbrokers. Look for
Somehow
the
people are in more need of borrowed money now than when you started. That sounds horrible.
Now, the 680 News gas
These
price
are care
update
muffins.
and
Yeah, she
predicts
said
the
they were
price
care
will not
muffins.
change at midnight, holding at $1.06.9 cents a liter at most
They're
GE
orange, but
stations.
it used to be purple. They're orange because Dutch people want them to be orange. I've got 7-legged spiders. One the other day, yesterday. It's got 4 shoulders, I guess, but only 3 legs. That means one of them got ripped off, fighting with a cockroach. I'm not joking.
Sleep well, stay well. Sleep Country.
I'm trying to think what I could use to equate the size here.
So let's keep that healthy attitude going. And it
The
starts
spider's body is the size of that little piece of weed, and the cockroach is about the size of that fucking cigarette, approximately. The body. Now, the way we look at it, the size of the whole animal, the length. They measure crabs and spiders and shit. They measure the body.
Visit one of Healthy Planet's 29
Get in the fight
Canadian
with cockroaches.
family-owned
Sometimes the
locations
cockroach walks away.
or healthyplanetcanada.com.
680 News Time, 10:11. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks. And this report brought to you by your Toronto area Ford dealers.
It may sound
Just
dumb to
looking
shut
right
out your
now
block
at
number. The reason we do
the
this is the
Kennedy and
customs to find
Shepherd.
us.
All directions have reopened. It was closed for a fatal collision
Well,
investigation.
you
Police have finished their
careful with
investigation,
Facebook.
so
Why? All it's
everything
on
is
is my
opened up
address
now
and
at the
phone number.
intersection
It's a
of
free
Kennedy
Yellow
and
Pages
Shepherd.
ad. Go
However,
look
on the
for
westbound
somebody to have a
401,
copy
it is
of the Go find the
closed.
Yellow
All
Pages at the
collector
paper.
lanes are closed at the 404 for another collision investigation. They've also shut down the ramps, the on-ramps from Warden getting onto the westbound 401. And northbound on the 404, the ramp to the westbound 401, that is closed. But here's a note. If you're on the westbound 401 behind the crash in the collectors, you'll be forced to get off the
Rip up
ramp
Yellow
to
Pages
the
with spit,
northbound
put it in a
404.
black
You can
coin
change at
envelope,
Shepherd and then head south and get
and rip
back onto
people
the
off as they're
westbound
trying to pretend
401.
it was legal.
For those of you on the
That's why
northbound
the
Don Holly
province sells it
Parkway,
now.
just know that if you wanted to use
point
the
was
ramp to the
Douglas
northbound
Rose
404
gave
getting
them
onto the westbound 401, that is not available. You can either go up to Shepherd as well or get off at York Mills, take Leslie over to, or actually
You
take
bars, there are
York
funny
Mills
spots
over
in the
to Leslie,
sentences there.
then get back onto the westbound 401. Right now, we've got some construction in
It is all fine
Mississauga,
and well for
westbound
technical
QEW,
information,
Winston
but it's
Churchill.
really hard
Two
to
left lanes
fucking
are
drive
blocked,
and
but I just
interpret
had a
what
look,
you're
no
saying.
delay getting through there. As I mentioned, Kennedy and Shepherd, that intersection is open. But if you're on Guelph line, it is closed between Colleen Road and Britannia.
So we could
That is
take a
for
vote.
emergency hydro work. The
If you're
four-year
watching
event
this
is
in
on
the
right now. Get
past,
up to
I'm so
$2,000 in
sorry,
rebates
little
on most
youths.
new 2020
This ain't my
Escape
fault,
models. Contact your local Toronto area Ford
Maybe I coulda
dealer for all the
yelled louder.
details.
Right.
The next report is at 10:21. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Carl Lamb.
We do have some rain
Is
showers
it going to
tonight
drop
across
back
the
down to
GTA.
0 in
Some
Ontario
pockets
or
could
go
bring
up to
some steadier
6,000 like they
rainfall
said?
to the region. Light snow will take over during the overnight, bringing a coating.
People don't understand what they're dealing with. They think because it went around them once and they didn't get it, they're immune.
Feeling like -7.
They think because they got it once,
For
they're
your New
immune.
Year's Eve, a high of 2 degrees and a low of -5.
The antibodies
Some
won't
lake
be
effect snow will
generated
develop for
for the
areas
same.
north and east of the city. And then for
I'll
Friday,
explain that.
we will have a high of 2 degrees and a low
If
of
I
0.
dress like
It's dry
this
to
and
start
rob you,
2021,
and I
but we have a
shave.
big system making its way in that could bring
Where's my
a
license?
prolonged period of freezing
Pull that
rain
one off the frame.
by Friday evening
I come
for a
at you
few
like
hours.
this,
That
wearing a
is a big
suit
concern, and then it will
and some
transition
sort of
over to a
official
rain
looking
snow mix
security
during the evening.
uniform. Excuse me,
right
sir.
low
You're not going
-2.
to recognize me. It's no
Right
different than
now,
your
in
immune
downtown
system. It
Toronto, overcast
mutates.
and 5
They said
degrees,
there was
but
one
feeling warm like
allele or
0.
one gene
Still
or
to come on 680
1%. No, it
News.
couldn't have been
I'll look at our
1%.
latest
That's a huge
headlines and sports.
difference
680 News
between
Time,
SARS
10:14.
and SARS-2. That's why it's called SARS-2. It's literally the next mutation.
To remember at Dog Valley North Lexus with rates
2002 to 2004, I guess. And who knows where it came from before then? We never really got into that back then.
2020 models. And during the Boxing Week event, get complimentary winter tires on all demonstrator and pre-owned Lexus. Complete your purchase entirely online or call for an appointment today. Expect excellence.
All I remember is Bay, and I think it's Richmond, the one right south of I know. I grew up here. I still get confused which one's Richmond. Richmond's one block south. Yeah. I only remember because the coffee time has been gone for 18 years.
To the absolute lowest price ever. From wireless and audio products to 4K smart TVs with 2-year warranty. Many below cost.
I know what I'll do. I'll name the place anytime. You know what I'll do? I'll just spray paint it on the fucking wall. Anytime it's coffee time. And I'll let them figure out how to sue me for that when I'm not using that as my tax filing and license number. Operating as /A.
Overcast and 5 degrees in downtown Toronto. Good evening. I'm Joss Karen.
Coughing horribly, yelling and screaming, oh, it's SARS. All these people in suits and stuff are sort of looking at this blinders because it's Toronto. Toronto's full of crazy people.
Ontario also surpassed their previous record with 2,923 cases. 6 employees at St. Lawrence Market have tested positive for COVID-19. Toronto Public Health say the employees last worked at the market on December 19th, 21st, and 24th.
Saturday, Monday, and Thursday.
Now, 680 Sports from Sportsnet 590. The Fan. Here's Josh.
Why would that be? That is so
strange. How about this for a shocking piece of NHL news? Longtime Boston Bruins captain and blue liner Zdeno Chara is departing the franchise and will join the Washington Capitals on a 1-year deal for $795,000. Chara leaves a strong legacy in Boston, playing over 1,000 games while winning the Norris Trophy in 2009 and leading Boston to a Stanley Cup championship back in 2011.
People go, oh, you should go for this. You should go. Fuck that. That's $800,000 in your pocket.
Between Canada and Finland.
How badly could you fuck up in 1 year that they're even going to give a fuck since it was a 1-year contract? I'll try harder. This time you give me 3 years, 5 years. Seriously, I didn't care.
But they'll be hosting a playoff game whether they finish second or third in the conference. And they got the approval from the state of New York to 6,700 fans at Bill Stadium.
I'm not sure exactly what that means.
And already without quarterback Jared Goff for this Sunday, the LA Rams will also be without receiver Cooper Kupp for their big game with Arizona, as Kupp is on the reserve COVID-19 list. On the other side of the matchup, Arizona quarterback Kyler Murray says he's good to go for Sunday, despite dealing with a leg injury.
Somebody was telling me he had
a 45 pass every hour. Anytime at Sportsnet.
They wanted to offer to pay him by giving him a condo.
680 News Traffic Alert.
And he said, yeah, but how am I going to eat?
News Traffic Center. On the westbound 401, it's closed at the 404. All collector lanes at the 404 closed for a crash investigation. They've also closed the routes from Warden getting onto the westbound 401 and northbound 404, the route to the westbound 401, that is also shut down for this crash investigation. The 680 traffic.
Those numbers don't line up at all, eh?
Hiring can be challenging.
It's entirely designed to confuse outsiders. Just in case the Russians or the Germans or the Swiss or the Norse or whatever
As the owner of a construction company,
want to come
finding
take
the right
over.
people is a very difficult task. So I use ZipRecruiter.
I think it's easy to get around.
Powerful matching technology
We're
identifies
going to
the right people
graffiti
for your
up all the
job
signs
and
we
actively
can't tear
invites them
down.
to apply, which is why you should
All
try
the street
ZipRecruiter
signs will
for free
disappear.
at
All the numbers will come off the houses. Oh, no,
Monica did, and that's how she found Lamont, her new project superintendent.
The job is so perfect for me. I had a career breakthrough. I would have never found this job if it wasn't for ZipRecruiter.
With ZipRecruiter, we've hired everyone from accountants to project managers to field scientists. With
Oh, I could find it
ZipRecruiter,
in the
we
book.
get hiring results.
I always said in the back of my head, my address is 55, whatever.
Within the
It goes
first day,
53,
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to
57.
hire. And now you can try
fuck
ZipRecruiter for
happened?
free. That's right, free.
Your house missing.
ZipRecruiter.ca/Canada. That's ZipRecruiter.ca/Canada. ZipRecruiter.ca/Canada.
Well, I put the street address of Parks in my mind.
Iran's cabinet has created a
Iran.
compensation fund to pay the families of the 176 victims of a Ukrainian passenger plane that were shot down by Iranian forces outside Tehran
Now,
in
between
January.
militaries, they'll do
ABC's
that.
Julia McFarland says Iran
In a
will
way,
pay
it is sort of lending
$150,000
credibility to the
US
situation.
for each victim.
The Boeing 737 was struck by 2 Iranian missiles shortly after takeoff from Tehran. Iran called it a disastrous mistake at a time when there were heightened tensions with the United States following the assassination of a top Iranian general.
The victims included 55 Canadian citizens and 30 Canadian permanent residents, and many others with ties to Canadian universities.
Oh.
California is
Many
announcing
others
its
with
first
ties
case
to
of the new
some
and apparently
teachers
more
and
contagious
students
variant
and
of the novel
AIDS
coronavirus. In a virtual
It's like
conversation
there's
with
the one
California
diplomat that
Governor
has his family and then all the staff they need because
Dr.
they
Anthony
can't
Fauci says
be
while it seems the
mixing the
variant
same with the
can
public like some
spread
of us do.
faster than the virus strains seem so far,
There's 3
it
different
may not
diplomatic
be
plates in
stronger.
Ontario, not just
There's
one.
no indication at all that it increases the virulence, and by virulence I mean the ability to make you sick or kill you. It doesn't seem to make it more strong in that regard. In addition, it doesn't seem to evade the protection that's afforded by the antibodies
In my
that are
mind, the
produced
blueberries are sort of bubbling
by
up, like it's boiling, and
vaccines.
they keep sinking to the
Fauci
bottom like a
says
ladder.
virus mutations are common and to be expected.
I have muffin tins and a muffin
Coming up,
recipe
traffic
book. I'm
and weather
halfway
together
there.
on the ones. 680 News Time, 1020.
Hi, I'm Adam, founder of newborrow.com, and I started our company after I got fed up with the mortgage loan process. Turns out I wasn't alone. Thousands of homeowners wanted help.
They went above and beyond to help me get a line of credit. It was amazing service.
They treated me like a valued client and outperformed anyone I spoke to. Want to lower your mortgage payments and save a little money?
No, I'm just fed up with the application process.
Visit newborrow.com. License 13115.
Is it N-U-B-O-R-O?
It's different than before. We are stronger. Not because one of us is all of us. Because all of us is one of us. This is our team, the Canadian team, the human team. We all live here. So buy the tube, buy a mask, and change a life. Rise up and join the fight against homelessness. Show your support at raisingtheroof.org. Because this is our house, and we're raising the roof.
I grew up watching the comedy shows.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
If I remember correctly, I get this wrong. I thought Just the Laugh started as some way of raising funds for, among other things, homeless.
I'm just looking at the cameras.
Something
We still
like
have this closure on the
There were other
westbound
comedy
401.
shows for
It's at
that.
the 404
Those
in the
concerts for
collectors.
Africa as well.
So that is
But there were
closed for
some
crash
for
investigation. If you're behind
homeless
that
people,
crash in the collectors,
at least the
you're
United
gonna be
States. I'm not
forced
sure how
to
much
use
it
the ramp
affected Canada.
to the 404. You can turn around and then head
Many
southbound
people
on the
donated
404,
their time
get
to
back
raise
onto
money.
the westbound 401. Also, we've got the ramps from Warden onto the
lot of those
401. So if
people
you're
were
going
technically
north or
homeless at one
southbound
point
on
during the
Warden, no access to the westbound 401. And for those of you on the northbound Don Valley Parkway, just take note that if you
You're
plan
in a fucking
on
open sewer.
taking the ramp from the northbound 404 onto the westbound 401, that is closed. You can always get off at York Mills, head over to Leslie, get back onto the westbound 401. Westbound on the QEW,
You think
no
you can
delay
catch
for
all
the
that if
Woods
you're
and
not from
Churchill.
here?
We've got the 2 left lanes shut down for construction. Also had a look, go offline. It
You
looks
said
as though it's still
northbound, but the
closed
road
in
goes
Burlington
fucking east.
between
Oh
Common
shit,
Road
it
and
wiggles
Britannia
around and it's
for
on both sides of the
emergency
valley
hydro work.
somehow. I keep forgetting how
And
that works.
also, just to let you know again, because it was closed, the intersection of Kennedy and Shepherd has reopened. Breeze through the
What a horrible
winter
place
with
to be.
Snow Joe's Ion Plus cordless
Broken, baby.
snow
Don't
shovel
you-
available at CSC. You can get it today and save over 25%. Shop tsc.ca.
Walk
Your next
north
report
from
at
Kennedy and
10:31.
Eglinton
Right now,
and
let's
just
get the
walk.
forecast. Here's Carl Lamp.
Some rain showers tonight,
It's
transitioning
open,
over to a little
nothing.
bit of snow,
Thank you.
-2, feeling like -7 when you factor in those breezy winds. And then for New Year's Eve, more clouds than sun, a little bit of lake effect developing off of Lake Huron as well, a high of 2 degrees and a low of -5. For New Year's Day, we have some sun to start the day, but by the evening hours, we're watching this big system push in. It could
I'm a
bring
little
some
high.
freezing
May or may
rain
not
for an
make sense.
extended
Downtown
period of time
Toronto
to
is
parts of
similar
the
in a way to like
GTA.
Manhattan.
Other areas
Downtown
will
New
see
York.
rain, and then areas well to the
Detroit,
north will see
similar.
snow showers from this. A high of 2
The
degrees on
suburbs.
Friday and a low of 0.
Might be a lot
And
more
then on
like
Saturday,
California,
rain and snow
LA.
showers. It dries up by the afternoon and a high of 3 degrees. Tonight's overnight low is -2.
Right now in downtown Toronto,
Yeah, wasn't that
overcast
long ago
and
Scarborough was
feeling
farmland?
more
And then
like
became
0.
suburb, borough,
And coming
no,
up at
suburb,
10:30, we'll have more on some disturbing COVID-19 numbers
neighboring
out of
city in
Toronto
the
today,
GTA.
as
But
the
that
city
didn't
reported
last long
more
when
than
it became a
1,000
part of
new
the
cases.
city.
680 News Time, 1024.
You wouldn't have a pirate invest your money.
Yeah, I was hoping for a return of maybe 5%.
Oh, we'll do much better than that.
Well, that's encouraging.
What's the thing in French?
Nice parrot, by the way.
Turn on investment.
Yeah, he seems smart, too.
Better be. He'll be handling your account.
Oh.
Then why buy or sell a house without a Boundary-Wise accredited agent? Whether you're looking or listing, credentials matter. Your agent should be Boundary-Wise. Visit boundarywise.ca, a Protect Your Boundaries encouragement company.
From our family to yours, happy holidays from 680 News.
680 News time, 10:25. Most drive-through light shows in Toronto have been canceled because of the lockdown measures, and now the OPG.
Well, you
Winter
idiots somehow keep
Festival
fucking things up. How do you fuck up driving through somewhere? Are you driving now with the windows open?
Canada's biggest free outdoor light festival will be put on hold. With over 3 million lights, the show was scheduled to run nightly until January 10th, but has been closed early in accordance to the province-wide lockdown measures and to comply with the public health stay-at-home message. President and CEO of Niagara Falls Tourism, Janice Thompson, says the festival was within the health protocols, but now with the stricter measures, it'll be put on hold so everyone can stay safe. The festival has been put on display since 1982.
Yeah, okay. I just fucking shut it up again.
Is at the 404 in the Collectors.
The most irritating stalker I've ever had. You're not new or unique or
the
nothing.
ramps from Warden onto the westbound 401, they are shut down. And if you're headed northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, the ramp from northbound 404,
freezing up? Is YouTube confused again because it thinks there's no
the
signal?
680 traffic watch continues.
You're sprung a leak. Water through. Your furnace, the radiator too.
When stuff happens and you need money now, I mean,
So the lens looks like it's delaminated. Not the lens.
If you need
Plastic.
money in a hurry,
The lens over the lens.
get money quick. Just one click. PrudentFinancial.net.
Car or homeowners get approved. In less
To
than
talk
an hour.
about cars. The Germans would never understand why you would ever roll the windows down when you have that filtered air, climate control. And the Italians would never understand why you would ever roll them up. It's like, nice
Some say it
day.
can't happen soon enough. That's why your Ontario Subaru dealer is beginning the new year in the best way possible.
Want to take over
a
the
whole
world.
week early. Yay!
That unlimited speed
So
highway.
hurry to the unboxing week event and drive away in a brand
These
new
roads have built the speed to
2021 Subaru right
175.
now, along with a special $500 bonus because, gosh darn it, we all deserve it this year. The unboxing week event on now until January 4th. Happy New 2021 from Subaru.
Now, the 680 News and Business Report. Here's Chris McCusker. We did see markets move higher on both sides of the border, with the Dow closing at an all-time high. It was up 74 points. The S&P higher by 5. The NASDAQ up by 19. Providing a lift today, word the UK has approved the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine for emergency use. Now, Dean Pillay is a virologist at University College London. He spoke to Bloomberg in London.
The advantage of the AstraZeneca vaccine is, as widely known, that it doesn't need the cold chain. It doesn't need these deep, heavy freezers, and it doesn't need, therefore, this limited time.
Dry ice ain't that fucking heavy. The fact it gets lighter as it
between
evaporates.
defrosting and being given to individuals. So currently, for instance, the Pfizer vaccine, it's very difficult to develop the infrastructure to deliver it to people who are, for instance, elderly and housebound.
U.S. listed
After
shares in
elderly and
AstraZeneca
housebound,
higher
you
by
need people
about
that are
0.5% on Wall Street. Now,
servicing
in
their
response
needs
to
to
the
be
UK's
vaccinated.
decision,
Not them,
Health
stupid.
Canada is
You're
expediting the
completely
review of
defeating
this
the purpose of
vaccine for
giving them the
use
vaccine.
in this
You know, so all those
country.
other people don't get
COVID
sick.
vaccines
All
from
the people that
Pfizer
get
and
over it
Moderna
won't get sick.
have already been cleared for use in Canada.
People most likely to
TSX
die
today
next.
higher
Most
by
likely
2
to die of a
points,
severe reaction to the fucking
17,545. It's now looking at a gain this year of about 3%. Gold was higher by $10, $18.93. Oil up by 40 cents to $48.40 a
Yeah,
barrel.
but Sergeant
Now,
Preston
U.S.
was
crude oil
1897.
inventories fell by 6 million barrels last week, the biggest drawdown since October. Oil was very thinly traded today, but keep in mind, it's up by about 6% this month,
drawing down the
with
level of
vaccines
oil in the
boosting
tank.
hopes demand will recover. And the Canadian dollar up by
These
about
idiots,
a third of
25
a
years
cent,
talking
closing
about the
just
price of
shy
oil.
of
Never once did they
78.5
describe
cents
what oil
US.
gets turned into.
At the business
anything.
center,
Go on
I'm
ads
Chris
for
McCusker.
palm olive all day because it's good to soak your hands in, but darn, it's better to wash good oil off the ducks. Sunlight or Old Dutch probably because I would say Sunlight actually. They're all made from oil. They're all petrochemicals. That's why they dissolve the oil so well. All that fucking dish soap does is it dissolves water. It doesn't dissolve in water, it dissolves water.
Visit NHLlive.com.
Always
be the first to know. The new 680 News Be the First to Know newsletter. Brought to you by Diamond & Diamond Lawyers.
The current top 5 stories.
Plus weather and your favorite contests, like the 680 News Weather Guarantee.
Twice daily.
Subscribe now at 680news.com/newsletters.
And always be the first to know.
I never get those emails from you bastards.
Time, 10:30.
You could just use a listserv.
News in Toronto.
Like a non-web based one, you fucking assholes.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, December 30th. I'm
You used
Michelle
to send a lot of
Williams.
emails.
And
These idiots don't even send out one. I never get the Amber Alerts. I never get the anything alerts. That's why I'm not going to bother with this COVID
Dr.
app.
Eileen Davila is asking people to prepare for a jump in COVID-19 case numbers as the city sees another record reaching over 1,000 cases
They don't keep track of anything except your advertising ID on your phone.
They are going to be requiring all air travelers to test negative for coronavirus 3 days before returning to the country.
More details are being released by the province and how it's deciding to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine. This as Moderna's doses arrive in Ontario. Party leaders reacting to the provincial finance minister leaving the country for vacation. NDP Andrew Horvath says,
"Fire that cabinet minister."
After 14 seasons in Boston with the Bruins, Zdeno Chara is heading to Washington, while Canada and Finland will play for Group A on New Year's Eve. Sports at 45.
Modest gains on both sides of the border. The Dow closed at a record, and gold
So that was
and
just a
shares
sample
in
of sound bites. I'm
CP
not sure
provided the lift to Bay Street.
exactly the
Business at
context.
56.
But yeah.
680
These are
News Time,
gang
10:31.
leaders, military
Time for
unit
traffic and
leaders.
weather
It's
together
like
on the
corporate
ones. Here's
militia
Connect
shit,
Deja
but they
Vu.
are the
And right now
government.
on the
The
westbound
police,
401, it remains
corporations,
closed
cities,
at the 404.
individuals,
The
and up
collector
here
lanes
somewhere's
closed
the
at the
government.
404
The
for
province is
collision
more safe than the
investigation.
feds.
They've also shut down
Oh, the
ramps
feds might
from
be at the
Warden
top of the
getting
food
on
chain.
to the westbound
It's just- but it's
401.
just like a
And if
monarchy.
you're traveling northbound on the
Most
John Valley
people are
Parkway,
entirely
the ramp to
dependent
the
on
westbound
that
401
second level
from the
route
northbound
beneath
404,
them.
that is also
Lieutenants,
shut
you
down.
probably call
Now,
them.
if you're in the collector lanes on the westbound
here.
401, approaching the
Those
404,
ranks,
they're going to force
different
you
in every
off to
fucking place
take
it uses.
the
Right? I
ramp
still don't
up
know what a
to the
lieutenant
northbound
is.
404. You can get off at
At least the
Shepherd,
lieutenant,
go
at
over the
least this is my
overpass,
right hand
and then
man.
get
That's
back
the
on the southbound
lieutenant. Right? Is that how
404
that works?
and get
I
back
don't know.
on to
Like
the
it should.
westbound 401.
That would make more sense to me
Also,
than
if you're northbound on the John Valley Parkway, you
all
can
this
take
dogma.
that
They spend
ramp
very little
from
time and
the
effort
northbound
trying
404
to
to
tell us
Shepherd
what
and
any
do
of it
the same
actually
thing,
means.
or you can get up at York
So I
Mills
disregard
and over
most
to
of this. I
Leslie
think I'm
and then
some
go north to
dumb
the westbound 401.
racial
Right now on the
slur,
westbound
racial slur, racial
QEW
slur.
at Winston Churchill, we've got the two left lanes blocked for construction, but of course
They
no
built this,
delay
what
at
was
this
it,
point.
$7
And
million
Wolf Line,
courthouse?
that's still closed in Burlington between Colleen Road and
Oh, you don't want to
Britannia
go to trial?
for
We'll go to trial. You get your
emergency
trial. We'll build a whole
hydro work.
courthouse for you bastards. Bomb-proof and everything. So we know you're crazy and you want
Get
to.
the forecast,
So
Carl.
why would we blow up a courthouse? We love courthouses. Police stations
We'll
are
have
like.
rain showers through the evening and some
Blow up the
light snow
courthouse. We
during
pay
the
for that. Blow up the
overnight.
police
A
station. Police
coating
pay
at
for that.
best, and those
I don't
southwest
understand
winds will make
entirely
it
what I mean
feel
by that.
like -7. For tomorrow, +2 will be the high, -5
Oh, by the way,
is the
that's
low.
in the
More
news and
clouds
shit
than
already.
sun, and
There's
a little bit
people
of lake effect snow for areas north and
attempted
east
their
of the
best.
city. Will be a bit
Getting this
breezy
close
with
to
a
blowing
wind
up
around
police
20
stations.
kilometers per hour tomorrow. Tonight's overnight low, -2.
Right now in downtown Toronto, overcast and 5 degrees, but feeling more like 0. And over at Pearson, mostly cloudy and 2.
I just want to know how many Thompson guns there are in Barnes.
Be prepared for some unsettling and disturbing numbers out of Toronto. That from Toronto's medical officer of health today, as the city reported a record number of new cases, surpassing the 1,000 mark in one day. City public health officials reporting 1,069 new cases today, a record alongside Ontario's number of 2,923 cases and 19 deaths. Dr. Eileen Davila and Mayor John Tory asking people to stay home for New Year's Eve or rethink any plans involving a party or get-together. Davila warns the numbers will continue to worsen in the coming days, but more measures are down the line.
Early next week,
Toronto Public Health will announce additional actions meant to reduce risk associated with COVID-19 in workplaces. Mayor Tory also announcing the city will again offer free childcare for essential workers during the lockdown, which includes a period of remote learning for students.
You're making it free. That's helpful. The only people that were getting childcare already were essential workers. The Canadian government says that passengers must have a negative COVID-19 test taken within 3 days before they arrive in the country. Minister of Public Safety Bill Blair said the measure will be implemented in the next few days.
We strongly advise against all discretionary travel. And if you must travel, understand that upon your return to Canada, you must follow guidelines and quarantine.
CHC, there's a sign right close to the sidewalk.
It's not just the right thing to do. It's the law.
Post that says something about visitors welcome during business hours with no
significant
trespassing, blah, blah, blah.
Canada already requires those entering the country to self-isolate for 14 days.
So if it's illegal to smoke in a line and illegal to smoke close to the door, you shouldn't be smoking there because there's a daycare and all these other fucking things, and you're asking me for a life. The sign already says I can drag your ass right off of there.
Ontario, urging
I'm
all
going to push you as
citizens to
far as
avoid
either the
non-essential
sidewalk or the
travel.
road. I'm not sure.
680's Madison Fitzpatrick has more. Premier Doug
Once I
Ford
get you
publicly
there, I can't
addressed
really
the
do anything else
controversy,
because I need to come
apologizing
back.
and admitting he should
I
have
don't know,
done
it was a month and a
more.
half.
He
Still bothering
never
me.
told anyone he was leaving. Never told me he was leaving. I did call him shortly after he arrived, talked to him and asked where he was. He said he was away, so there's going to be an issue. My mistake, and I take full responsibility. At that time, I should have said, get your backside back into Ontario.
Meantime, provincial NDP leader Andrew Horwath is calling on the Premier to kick Finance Minister Rob Phillips out of cabinet.
That word goes at least as far back as the 80s.
Completely unacceptably, and that's why he has to actually step up here and provide consequences. Show people, the people of the province, that he sees that when something is being done wrong, and he actually takes action. Which is to fire that cabinet minister.
In a statement, the minister admitted he made the decision to travel not knowing the province would be placed under a lockdown on Boxing Day. I'm Madison Fitzpatrick.
What day did he? See, I gotta hear that story again.
This is Colin Desjardins from the 680 News Traffic Center. It's still closed on the westbound.
On Sunday they were telling us, okay, it was either Monday or Tuesday, probably Monday. I think part of the day Monday they were saying
north and southbound Warden onto the westbound 401. They are shut down. And also northbound,
said, it's not going to be the 24th, 12:01 a.m.
The westbound 401 remains closed
the 26th,
as well.
12:01
For this
a.m.
collision investigation,
really.
the 680 Traffic Watch continues.
For a bunch of reasons, including the fact these idiots
You're
kept
listening to 680 News. Ontario saw the arrival of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine today. This comes just in time as the province outlines a framework for an ethical distribution of the vaccine. 680's Michelle Morton has more on what's next. Calling it an ethical framework, the province is releasing details on how it's deciding to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine through its three-phase plan in the coming months. The vaccine rollout launched this month is seeing healthcare workers receive the first round of Pfizer's vaccine. Member with the Vaccine Distribution Task Force, Dr. Dirk Heyer, says there are 4 key groups that will be vaccinated between now and around March, beginning with those who live and work in long-term care and retirement homes.
Population number 2 is a very broad category of healthcare workers. Population number 3 is First Nation, Métis, and Inuit adults in Ontario. And population number 4 is those who are receiving home care on a chronic basis.
6 principles outlined in the framework include minimizing harms and maximizing benefits, equity in the distribution of vaccines without bias or discrimination, fairness, transparency, legitimacy, and public trust. I'm Michelle Morton. 680 News Time, 10:38. Breaking news from Toronto police, who are investigating reports of a stabbing near Queen Street West and Portland Street just before 9 p.m. Police say the man is bleeding from the face, and EMS have transported him to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Officers have located and arrested a suspect. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. 680 News Time, 10:38.
680 News. Year in Review. Brought to you by the Chesterfield Shop.
This is Kevin Meisner with a look back on May 22nd, the day the Toronto Wildlife Center revealed that a baby fox was killed by a dog at the Woodbine Beach Boardwalk.
It's very
disappointing, you know, and there's a lot of idiots out there, and I think that people's got to be smart.
Oh, the coyotes?
They fence it off, so just watch from a social distance and let them be.
The family of foxes had built a den under the boardwalk, crowds of people gathering despite COVID-19 orders. Maria says people were even touching and hand-feeding the fox kids.
Yeah, I heard the same thing from the wildlife, that people had been going in there at night.
And even people walking dogs would approach the foxes.
It's concerning because not only is that an issue for the wildlife, but it's an issue for the other dogs as well. So it's a threat to everybody.
City of Toronto staff put up fencing to try to keep people away, but the Wildlife Center says too much attention likely lessened the baby fox's natural fear, and it was mauled by an aggressive dog. With the year in review, I'm Kevin Meisner.
You know, the dog got too close
Gas
and bit it.
prices won't be changing,
You
but
said
find out
kits,
what
I
they
don't
are
call
in
them
just
kits,
30
I call them
seconds. 680 News Time, 10:39.
Here it is, the sale we've been waiting for. What about the fucking guy threatening the teenage girl with a knife? That's the Balmy Beach Club. Formerly the Balmy Beach Wasika Club. Look, this shit up is the same as the Fisky Pits Ride. The race rides.
Online, curbside pickup or delivery. Save up to 80% off. Boxing Day. On now for a limited time.
That's this neighborhood. The same neighborhood that volunteered 2,500 people in World War I.
Now, the 680 News gas price update. Embro predicts the price will not change at midnight, holding at $1.06.9 a liter at most GTA stations. Coming up, traffic and weather. 680 News Time, 10:40.
This Boxing Week, unwrap more with Rogers. Get more savings with all our best phones and accessories for $0 down with financing. Unwrap more time together when you order with Rogers Pro on the go for fast free delivery and setup as soon as today in select areas. And unwrap more cheer when you get a Rogers Infinite plan with no data overages on Canada's largest 5G network. Get everything on your wish list for your family or small business during the Wrapped in Red event. On now for a limited time at Rogers. Visit Rogers.com today. At JackpotCity.net, you can do amazing things with just one casino chip. Discover a world of incredible casino games with over 500 high-quality online slot games, including the world-renowned progressive jackpot slot, Mega Moolah. Play for free at JackpotCity.net and get treated as a VIP 24/7. So visit JackpotCity.net today on your tablet, laptop, or mobile. Jackpot City, a whole world of casino games. 18 plus. Please play responsibly. This is not a gambling website.
680 News Time, 10:41. Time for traffic and weather. Together on the ones, here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks, Michelle. This report brought to you by Pizza. The westbound 401 still closed at the 404. All collector lanes at the 404 shut down for a crash investigation. If you're behind that crash in the collectors, you'll be forced to take the northbound 404. You can go up to Shepherd, cross over, then head southbound 404 and use the ramps there. Also, they've closed the ramps from north and southbound Warden onto the westbound 401. And if you're headed northbound on the Don Valley Parkway and are planning to use the ramp from the northbound 404 to the westbound 401, that is also closed for this crash. It could be closed for another 5 hours. On the westbound QEW, really no problems, except we do have some construction at Winston Churchill. 2 left lanes are blocked, but it's really not causing a delay. Eastbound on the QEW looks good from Burlington to Mississauga. The Gardner, that's moving well into and out of the downtown core. Taking a look at city streets, it's actually in Burlington, Guelph line. Shut down both ways between Colling Road and Britannia. That's all due to emergency hydro work.
Britannia.
And right now, Pizza, you can get unlimited medium 2-topping pizzas for $7.99 each. Yep, get as many as you want for $7.99 each. Minimum 2, maximum unlimited. Now at Pizza. Your next report at 10:51.
It's really usually say 2 or more for $7.99.
Well, light to moderate rain throughout the evening, changing over
you should have some sort of rule that if advertisers are trying to get you to say something stupid,
-7 for New Year's Eve, a high of +2 and a low of -5. We'll have overcast conditions, a little bit of sun trying to break through. and we'll have lake effect snow for areas north and east of the city as a few bands could develop off of Lake Huron. And then for Friday, temperatures head up to 2 degrees. It's a dry start to the day, but we have a big storm system bringing in rain and snow, and then also the potential for some freezing rain Friday evening. For a prolonged period of time, this could make it very dangerous out on the roads and on untreated surfaces as we drop down to a low of 0 on Friday night. Tonight's overnight low, -2.
Right now in downtown Toronto, it's 4 degrees with overcast, but feels like -1. With similar conditions near Toronto Pearson Airport at 3 degrees, feeling like -3. Well, the TTC is making a change to the annual New Year's Eve free service. In accordance with the provincial government's lockdown measures, the New Year's Eve free ride will not be taking place this year. To encourage Torontonians to stay home and celebrate safely with members of their household, there will be no extra late night service tomorrow. Regular service will be taking place. For a complete holiday schedule, including a list of the last trains on each line, you can visit ttc.ca. Still to come on 680 News, a look at your top stories in sports. 680 News Time, 10:44.
One radio station can work wonders for your business, but 2 stations can put you in a different league. Sarah Hugo, second-generation owner of Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries.
We've been working with CHFI for over a decade, and our account manager suggested that
why would you donate that milk to like animal shelters?
We've seen great results through having that extra demographic. The importance of having both stations, for us, we feel it is best for our business, and it gets people through the door.
So you rely on your CHFI and 680 News.
That's interesting because the one station doesn't have any news whatsoever.
We absolutely trust their judgment in providing advice for us, as well as future strategies for advertising potentially on digital and other opportunities, and we collaborate really well to come up with the best possible plan for our business.
Sounds like they're part of the Lazy Boy team.
We're really looking forward to getting together again with our 680 News and CHFI account managers to have lunch together and maybe talk a little bit of business as well.
Get 680 News and 98.1 CHFI working for you. Visit 680ads.com. That's 680ads.com.
This is all news radio.
Think you run everything.
It's 4 degrees with overcast.
Most people do it, they just tune away. What do? I call you, let you know you're fucking up. And when I don't, you do every fucking fuck up in the book.
Dr. Eileen Davila is asking
We're just going to lie and bullshit all fucking day long because we're not getting any complaints.
As Ontario's case count is just shy of 3,000 today, and the city sees another record.
The less type of calls they get, it doesn't matter what type of call it is, the less number of calls they get.
The federal government says they're planning
they
to require every air
advertise.
traveler to test negative for COVID-19 3 days before landing back in the country. And coming up after sports, BC's top doctor issuing an order to stop the sale of alcohol at 8 p.m. on New Year's Eve to help lower the spread of the virus. 680 News Time, 10:45.
You can require them to self-isolate. You can take them away with this Canadian forces because the impact to your rights is less than the impact to everyone else's rights under the charters.
In a truly stunning move,
that's the argument.
Longtime Boston Bruins defenseman Zdeno Chara announced on Instagram that he was leaving Boston after 14 seasons to join the Washington Capitals, where he inked a 1-year deal for this season for $795,000. The former Bruins captain departs having played 1,023 games in Boston and helped lead the team to the 2011 Stanley Cup. We're all set for a showdown that will determine the winner of Group A at the World Juniors in Edmonton after Finland picked up a 6-0 win against Slovakia to improve to 3-0 on the tournament. They will take on 3-0 Team Canada tomorrow night at 6, and the winner of that will take Group A. The Buffalo Bills were given a green light to host 6,700 fans for their upcoming home playoff game by the governor of New York. The Bills can finish as the number 2 seed in the AFC with a win on Sunday against Miami. And a couple of finals from the NBA, as Kevin Durant had 33 points, helped Brooklyn to a thrilling 145-141 win over Atlanta, while Boston handled Memphis 126-107. And a night after getting blown out by 47 against Milwaukee, the Miami Heat bounced back to beat the Bucks 119-108. Sports at 15 and 45 pass every hour, or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
680 News News Traffic Alert.
And this is Colette Desjardins from the 680 News Traffic Center. The westbound 401 still closed at the 404. It's all collector lanes, and that's because of a collision investigation. Express lanes are open through that stretch. The ramps from Warden, north and southbound, getting onto the westbound 401, they are also shut down. And the ramp from northbound 404 to the westbound 401 also closed. The 680 Traffic Watch continues. License 10349.
You've been sentenced to the debt penalty. You're getting killed by debt. So count on Northwood Mortgage to be your unwavering champion, making your case and setting you free financially. Carefully restructure.
Nothing. What about this kid that got shot and the girl that got stabbed up? This man that got stabbed up in the face. Oh, wait, you gotta tune back in at the top of the hour. Oh dear. These fucking things are bothering my face. Okay, why isn't that working? Like every time you think I'm looking at the screen, it logs up. Like seriously.
Slim. We out here.
When you think I'm looking at like you or yeah, there goes.
She's the white light, she's the 990s, so don't sleep, no, nigga, we are one, no matter who it is, bound to get the job done. The Canadians got the shooters behind, she's the white light, she's the 990s, so don't sleep, nigga, we are one, no matter who it is, bound to get the job done. On the same change, with the same clip, never gonna change, no, nigga, only change shows, and the pool, but only if it's fucking up, play some aim, and niggas above the button, working hard in the paint, no path of fucking no, we patch a flip that to get our shit up. Every other option is to stick up. Never a 9 to 5, cause I ain't got no day job. From the slums, little homie, when we play hard, we don't wanna see the 30-30 when it sprays on. 22 to walk around 3/8 to the beat. The 40 to lick them down, the max for the EC. Heard niggas saying, but they wanna make tracks with us. What for that? Didn't even crack to us. Going hard in the booth, it's a takeover. And the ground into your face, that's a makeover. 25 for a Q. The rest prosper, hustlers, I say won't sleep till I knock it. And don't push me, cause I ain't in the target. 12-year-old school, so I ain't scared if you got it. Is it me you comparing to? I ain't finished my fair share yet, but I aired them just started. And I ain't talking about no jump shot, brush them off, don't top. You know the cold hurt my tracks. Didn't think I was capable. 4-5 pipe on my traceable. Didn't think I was capable. 4-5 pipe on my it isn't traceable. You niggas gon' ride something like a flat tire. Aim a fire at your back and when you backfire. Cause my gap's the same size as a blow dryer. Never true in your raps, you some damn liar. Great job, make them spit through the wires. And you don't supply shit, you a buyer. I'm the king of gang rap, Coney Sire. But privately you rate and admire. You rubber dudes, I gotta take you out, call it quits or retire. The fourth room down, fifth lift from up. Barrels don't leave shells, so I'm switching up. Something like a bus driver still picking up. Got your hands in your pocket, nigga, stick them up. Ton of projects, money's no hijacks. So we finger foot max and we podcast. Slide in, slide out, duck so we ride out. Down, go, I duck rounds at you dumb cows. You're standing up till I tell them sit down. Stomach on the ground, hands behind your back and your neck. When I'm digging in your cash, give me that in your trip. Off for the rest. He said, kept the weed, leave the cash. What? I'ma do him dirty, not do it. Niggas get back, bitches get snapped and get smacked face down when I'm breaking her back. Go, we got metal like a rap, made a name in rap. I ain't said a nigga track. Go, I'ma need me a bag for that C-O-L-T. Parked in my rack, still unstolen. Stereo scratch, sleep on my actions. Stop the madness, I'm reeling up, get it gone. Mad shit, they can't go sleep like I don't got a night out. Tell your A class, didn't see drop, now run up on them close. I ain't going wrong, but I'm clear blood strong till it drops on my car. Till it's highly dangerous and no duty arms just dangerous. Sicker than stars, I ain't famous, but I'm a hot star. I'll snap, crack, pop like camera. I'll snap, run, duck, just hide when I let off. One man in the mask, man in the act, man with the strap to your man's vision black. With the phone dog and hot snap, all the G's for YGs. Scroll clap, we clap, do you come and try me? 70s and 90s, been moving, driving. Till they talked up to the ivy. It's 4 or 5 will stretch up, and they think it's drug war. Until they end up on a stretcher, better get a coffin. Yo, Critians, so we ain't in the no long talking. Money overflow, back on my bullshit. These punks that I grew with, acting like they're too sick, too no cash making me ever switch sides. Or battle to the jigs, almost get my cuss fried. My mind's fried. See, I don't give a fuck, skank it with a YG. Guaranteed we hit them up. Take a nigga slut, man, you know me. Never look back since my first stack in 03. Cat nigga, once I get busy with these OGs, screaming outside, outside all the police. Fucked up when I nipped 1.5 a B. Snakes and cop chops, now you owe me 10 G's. Till I go to sleep, kill you for the indicator. Marksman, shoot for fun. What the fuck's a murder one? Bad news if you run into the DBS. All I do is give one nod, then he breathes the tech. Then he breathes the tech. All I do is give one nod, then he breathes the tech. The Koreans, shooters behind my OGs, the wide, the 70s, the 90s.
August 9th to 11th, 2019. We used to put up five editions a day.
Got the shooters behind my OGs, the wide, the 70s, the 90s. We gon' be all one, no matter who it is, bound to get the job done.
Welcome to Mi'kmaq Matters, a podcast about the Mi'kmaq people and the Halibu First Nation. I'm Glenn Wheeler.
I'm from the West End. Nigga, what you saying? I'm from the West End. I'm from the West End. Yo, I'm coming straight from the West End. Move from the Jane to the West End. Watch how you talk when you walk through my hood, cause you know that my niggas be pressing. Heavy artillery weapons. Ain't really into the questions. I ain't condoning no violence. These youngins are wildin', they move kind of reckless. Got the keys, police stay petting niggas. Stay cheese, a familiar face taxing niggas. Safety, didn't even wanna slap the nigga, he made me. Ain't nobody telling me nothing. I knew from a young and I be the one I hit something. Now all of these rappers is bugging. You live in the birds and you act like you came up from nothing. Shout out to my niggas on the plaza. Lane to connections, Southside Gaza. When I roll my backwood, better have grabber. Never leave the house without my iPhone charger. Wallahi, my Molly's a rocker.
The problem with these keyless fobs, they'll take the keys off you.
African man, that's my barber. Jamaican man, that's my shopper. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. These rappers, they lying in the booth. Lie in the booth. What's that got the realest? Just look at the proof. I'm living proof. The city's so litty cause we got the juice. We got the juice. So we got the juice. I'm from the West End. I'm from the West End. Nigga, what you saying? I'm from the West End. I'm from the West End. Nigga, what you saying? Bench strip, jungle to the Rex we deep. I can tell a West End nigga by the way you speak, Birds chirping loud in the hood, always lose they beaks. Know that shotty with bodies got dumped in the creek. Stop, freeze, what I mean looking for me. The chick I got that degree, what do you mean? Bitch, you don't know what I seen. Bitch, you ain't been on the scene. Record is clean, I'm too wavy. Make a your man wanna date me. I got the sauce, gravy. More that they cannot replace me. Cause I'm from the West End. Bitch, nigga, better watch that top and find out you top to the cops. Cold when it turn hot on your block. I'm from the West End. So they claim you a bad man. But y'all, what a bad girl crew. Let me show you what a bad girl do. But you didn't know that I'm from the West End. I'm from the West End.
Nigga, what you saying? I'm from the West End. I'm from the West End. Nigga, what you saying?
Yeah, I told you, man. All that money's counterfeit, son. Yeah.
As a little kid.
I'm gonna add about this week to listen to that too. Hell, man, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
New York niggas in Hollywood. Yo, nigga, biggest smell that.
This is better than most people ever get. This is the mid-grade from the dispenser. I can already tell. With 18%.
When it comes to money,
physically, the hobby medically, they get enough of it in.
my niggas 5 niggas, and they crazy, they choose. I used to ask God for things, but I would never get it. Now I'm just stealing, ask God for forgiveness. You worry about the wrong man, I'm the shooter. Give a man an inch, and he think he the ruler. There's no I in team, there is a me. American dream to believe it, you gotta be a slave. I know it's bad, but I'm high anyway. Healthy, stay fit, high anyway. Stay the talk, God kind of brave, but I don't get it. Cause when God talk back to me, that sounds just a credit. I don't talk shit, I'm full of pistols. I'm like a ventriloquist, you never see my lips move. Throwing money up, hell yes, penny pinch. Box back and even go skinny dipping. I started with nothing and still have most of it. I'm pulling out hammers like Chuck Bridger, host of it. I can't remember the last time I got killed it. Your guns is decoration, nigga, so stop working. You sticky finger, I'm maniac depressive. I'm passive aggressive. Better spend the message. You know who the best is. Better have your best. I'm good, big, black, and ugly. I call that bitch precious. I sweat on my nose. They stated I'm an evil brother. I'm a wrong. I see things and dream in color. You think it can't happen till you got flesh. You won't so make it right. But believe me, 3 laughs. We keep it clean. With it. Clean the gun.
This is 680 News, Toronto.
It's Wednesday, December 30th, and good evening. I'm Giles Kieran-Cooner. And I'm Michelle Halim. Here's what's making news this hour. Some disturbing COVID-19 numbers out of Toronto today.
I wonder about the man that stuff up in the
We're learning more about how the COVID-19 vaccine will be distributed throughout the province the same day Ontario sees its shipment of Moderna doses. Doug Ford responding to his finance minister leaving the country for vacation.
This is unacceptable.
While other party leaders push for his removal.
Longtime
that's
captain
interesting.
Zdeno Chara is heading to the Washington
Doug,
Capitals.
he's not even sure what to do yet. Everybody else says, yeah, fucking get rid of his
showdown
ass.
on New Year's Eve. Sports at 15.
Modest gains on North American markets.
The
A record
opposition
high for
party.
the Dow, and the
Let's say that.
TSX ekes out a gain with a boost from gold. Business at 26.
Gold to the gold sector. You don't seem to understand those two things are not directly
Time
related.
11:01. Time for
No
traffic and weather
connection.
together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
And right now, the westbound 401 remains closed at the 404. All collector lanes on the 404 DVP shut down because of a crash investigation. They've also closed the ramp from northbound 404 getting onto the westbound 401. They've also shut down the ramps from north and southbound Warden getting onto the westbound 401. Just a quick note that if you're on the westbound 401 and you're in the collectors approaching the 404 DVP, you're going to be forced off at the 404 404. You can always head north, get off at Shepherd, cross over, head southbound on the 404, then get back on to the westbound 401. Eastbound on the 401, we've got some construction at Trafalgar. 2 left lanes are blocked, but no delays through there. Taking a look at the westbound QEW, they've just shut down the ramp to Dorval, so there's no access from the westbound QEW to Dorval, and also westbound QEW at Winston Churchill. 2 left lanes are blocked for construction. Had another look, and actually, no, we're not seeing any lanes slowing down at all. No, so traffic is getting through in fine condition right now. However, if you're on the Guelph line in Burlington, we may still have a closure. It was between Calling Road and Britannia. It was all because of emergency hydro work. Not sure if it's still closed. If you can update me, please do. Our free traffic tip line, star 680. Your next report is at 11:11. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Carl Lynn.
Those rain showers will be with us through the evening, and it transitions over to light snow during the overnight. You may wake up to a coating at best for areas north of the city. Southwest winds will be around 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Low of -2. Feels like -7 when you factor in the wind. For tomorrow, New Year's Eve, a really uneventful day. More clouds than sun. A little bit of lake effect snow for areas north and east of the city off of Lake Huron. And we will have a westerly wind around 20 kilometers per hour with a high of 2 degrees and a low of -5. Tonight's overnight low is -2.
Right now in downtown Toronto, it's 4 degrees with overcast, but feels like -1. With similar conditions near Toronto Pearson Airport, but a little colder over there at 3 degrees, feeling like -3. 680 news time, 11:04.
The province and the city are reporting one-day records for COVID-19 cases, and the city's top doctor is asking us to brace ourselves for more discouraging numbers in the days ahead. That's 2,923 new cases of COVID-19 in Ontario, with Toronto Public Health reporting a record of 1,069 of those, and 19 new deaths confirmed province-wide. Toronto's medical officer health Dr. Eileen Davila measuring the state of virus spread across the city right now.
The level of infection is such that every neighborhood in Toronto meets the province's criteria for red zone designation.
The city announcing some new measures, including free childcare for essential workers during the lockdown. That includes remote learning for students throughout the month of January. Davila says additional measures for workplaces will be announced next week. The city confirming that there will be no New Year's Eve celebrations at Nathan Phillips Square this year. Mayor John Tory asking Torontonians to stay home and not host or attend a house party.
You should have put something on in Nathan Phillips Square.
After Provincial Finance Minister Ron Phillips took a vacation for fun during the pandemic, party leaders are now speaking out. 680's Matthew Fitzpatrick has more.
Premier Doug Ford says he's disappointed over the minister's decision to travel to St. Bart's as the province sits under various lockdown measures. The premier says the rules apply to everyone, including elected officials.
It's unacceptable that anyone, any elected official, myself included, or anyone that gets up, ignores the rules, and goes down to an island. It's unacceptable. We're going to have a very tough conversation when he gets back.
However, provincial NDP leader Ingrid Horvath says the opposite, that these government leaders are acting like the rules don't apply to them.
Who is it that's acting like they ought to now? I say it's Mr. Ford and his insider buddies like Rod Phillips, Mr. Hoff, and that's not what people want from a government in the time of a global pandemic where everybody's digging deep, everybody's counting their losses. It's really
the problem is everybody seems to think they're the only ones getting. I don't want to have to close. It's hard for my business. I want to stay open. You're not understanding. No one's going to be attending your business. And you're not going to get to run it the way you want to. People have been breaking rules for so long.
Traffic alert.
So the law from like 1980 or 82 or 84, something says all restaurant businesses above certain size, whatever, have to have certain amount of washing.
Collector lanes are shut down.
These restaurants are required, all of them, in the province, are required to allow the public to use their wash. All that, they're allowed to put up a sign that says customers only. They're not allowed to stop you. They have to let you use
for the same collision investigation. The 680 Traffic Watch continues.
Think of how ridiculous it is to force people to
province is detailing how it's planning to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine through its 3-phase plan in the coming months. The same day Moderna's vaccine was shipped to Ontario. 680's Michelle Morton has the story.
The province is
was looking
sharing
into
what
this,
it's
saying
calling
that
the
there should be
ethical
a law.
framework for its three-phase
Look deeper into it.
COVID-19
There was a law
vaccine and
already from
distribution plan.
what would that be,
Principles of the
25 or
framework
30 years earlier?
maximizing benefits of the vaccine, ensuring every person
All
has
these
the same
inspectors and
opportunity
everybody
to be
just enforces what
vaccinated,
they want.
and that decision-making processes are communicated to the public. With the Vaccine Distribution Task Force, Dr. Maxwell Smith says there are 4 groups that will be vaccinated between now and around March.
We want to protect those populations who are most at risk, but not just due to biological factors, but also due to social factors, to geographical factors, and occupational factors. And so we wanted to build in the thinking that we can think about those that are at risk for other reasons other than just being high risk biologically.
Phase 1 kicked off this month, seeing healthcare workers receive the first round of Pfizer's vaccine. I'm Michelle Morton.
680 News Time, 11:08. Toronto police say a man is in hospital with non-life-threatening injuries after being stabbed near Queen Street West and Portland Street just before 9 p.m. Officers and Toronto medics found the man bleeding from the face when they arrived on scene. Police continue to investigate and have arrested 1 suspect. Anyone with information is asked to contact police.
14
You're
division.
listening to 680 News. Freezing rain could be greeting you on the first day of the new year. A 680's meteorologist Carl Lamb says there's a system coming that could bring the wet and icy conditions to the GTA by Friday evening. Carl says these conditions are not ideal
It's
for
one
the
of those
drive.
streets. I
But
live here.
also
So
other areas will be dealing with a bit of a rain-snow mix as well, so it's not going to be ideal for traveling on Friday night into Saturday morning. So the best idea would be to stay indoors and avoid the system completely.
As we get closer to when the system arrives in the GTA, a freezing rain warning could be issued by Environment Canada because of an ice buildup of up to 2 to 5 millimeters, with Carl predicting some areas could see even more. Still to come on 680 News, a look at the gas price. 680 News Time, 11:09.
Working from home?
Stay up to date on the coronavirus.
Now more than ever.
Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day on your radio.
680news.com.
Or ask to play 680 News on your smart speaker.
I love these play dates with the kids. But how could one glass of wine turn into 3? I was only going to have 1.
Day-to-day pressures can contribute to increased drinking among women. Talking about it can help.
Hey, Joe. You've had a few drinks, and I know you've got a lot on your plate right now. Why don't you and the kids stay for dinner, and afterwards we can talk?
Driving is a woman's issue, too. Learn how to reduce the risk at changetheconversation.ca.
Palmerston, Markham, Euclid. Hold on.
Now, the 680 News gas price update. Pro predicts the price will not change at midnight, holding at $1.06.9 a liter at most GTA stations.
There's still time to go extra rounds at 2001 Audio Video's biggest and best Boxing Week sale. There's still inventory reduced to the absolute lowest price ever. From wireless and audio products to 4K smart TVs with 2-year warranty, many below cost. 2001 with the guaranteed lowest Boxing Week price.
The same square
or phone for curbside pickup.
New Toronto Street, Etobicoke.
Hi, Steve here. We can all agree that 2020 was a tumultuous year.
New Westminster Drive. I fucking hate you people.
All of us. When open, our 5 locations have been very busy with some exciting
Princess
new products and
Margaret
designs
Boulevard,
in both
Princess
leather
of
and
Wales
fabrics.
Court, Princess Royal Drive, Princess Royal, Princess Boulevard, Princess Avenue, Princess Anne Drive, Princess Anne Crescent, Princess Andrea Court, Princess Boulevard. It's not apostrophe S either, for whatever reason.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's
What does that
Colette
have to do with Princess Drive?
Prince Lear
brought to you by
Court, Prince
Uptown
Lee
Wireless
Place,
on
Prince
westbound
William
401.
Drive,
The
Prince William
404 all
Court,
collector lanes are
Prince
shut down
Street,
because
Prince
of the crash.
Rupert Drive, Prince
Investigation.
Rupert
They
Avenue,
still have
Prince
the ramps
Philip
from
Boulevard,
Warden onto the
Prince
westbound
Patrick out of
401
this
closed
way.
as well.
Holy fuck.
And they've also shut down the ramp from
This
northbound
starts at Prince
404 to the
Adam
westbound
Albert,
401.
Andrew Arthur,
But keep in
Charles.
mind, if you're going to be in the collectors on the westbound
Edward,
401, you'll be be forced to get off at the northbound 404. You can head north over Shepherd, then head southbound on the 404 and get the ramps to the westbound 401. Also, just a note that we had the intersection of Kennedy and Shepherd shut down, but that has reopened. Westbound on the QEW, the ramp to Dorval, that's closed for construction. But on the westbound QE, they opened up lanes at Winston Churchill. The construction they had has cleared. And at last check, Guelph line was closed between Colling Road and Britannia, all because of emergency road work. Unwrap more with Rogers Rosted Renovent. Get a free Samsung Galaxy Tab A on select 2-year plans. Visit Rogers at Centerpoint Mall or upsetvwireless.ca for all the details. Your next report at 11:21. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Carl Lamb.
We do have some rain showers tonight across the GTA. Some pockets could bring some steadier rainfall to the region. Light snow will take over during the overnight, bringing a coating at best. Those winds will be around 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, a low of -2, feeling like -7. More clouds than sun for your New Year's Eve, a high of 2 degrees and a low of -5. Some lake effect snow will develop for areas north and east of the city. And then for Friday, we will have a high of 2 degrees and a low of 0. It's dry to start 2021. But we have a big system making its way in that could bring a prolonged period of freezing rain by Friday evening for a few hours. That is a big concern. And then it will transition over to a rain-snow mix during the evening. Tonight's overnight low, -2.
Right now in downtown Toronto, overcast and 4 degrees, feeling more like -1. And over at Pearson Airport, mostly cloudy and 2 degrees. Still to come on 680 News, our latest headlines and a look at sports.
And Shank Street form an intersection.
Your roof sprung a leak, water came through, shorted out the furnace, the radiator too.
When you need money fast, Prudent Financial has been your best bank alternative since 1984.
If you need money in a hurry, PrudentFinancial.net.
Oh yeah, freeze. Okay, so technically.
Just one click. PrudentFinancial.net.
If you own your car or your home, get a loan. Borrow up to $75,000
There's 2 stabbings in the same neighborhood in a couple of days.
No proof of income, no problem.
St. Bart's. I gotta find this.
Hi, I'm Frank Capra, President Lexus of Oakville.
You told us nothing. You're about to go to sports.
The value of time, your time. This year, we've all learned a thing or two about
New York niggas is up. What up, nigga? Niggas smell that. When it comes to money, I'm at for these screws. My niggas rob niggas and they bring me their jewels. I used to ask God for things, but I would never get it. Now I'm just stealing and ask God for forgiveness. You worry about the wrong man, I'm the shooter. Give a man an inch and he think he the ruler. There's no I in team, there is a me. American dream to believe it, you gotta be a slave. I know it's bad, but I'm high anyway. Eat healthy, stay fit, high anyway. Straight talk, God gotta pray, but I don't get it. Cause when God talk back to me, that sounds just a pretty. I don't talk shit, I pull up pistols. I'm like a ventriloquist, you never see my lips move. Throw money up, that's pretty bitch. Box fat, it easy, go skinny dipping. I started with nothing and still had most of it. I'm pulling out cameras, jumping to host of it. I can't remember the last time I got something. Your guns is decoration, nigga, so stop working. It's sticky fingers, I'm a maniac depressing. I'm passive aggressive. Let's spread the message. Know who the best is. Better have your best. I'm good, bitch. I call that bitch precious. I sweat on my nose, they say that I'm an evil brother. I'm a walnut, I see things and dream in color. You think it can't happen till you got flesh. You want to make it right, but believe me, 3 laughs, we keep it clean.
What's St. Bart's? It's St. Bart's now.
Good stroke, sticky. Nigga smoke guns. Just a grown man. We out. Dad, you like his sons. I don't give a shit. Give a shit. The niggas wrong. We don't give a shit. Give a shit. No nigga wrong. I don't give a shit. Give a shit. The niggas, we don't give a shit. Give a shit. I know the hood like I came back so hard. Such a night. Must be an African. You'll stick your finger.
You're the resource man. Well, I'm not going under the wire.
Shotgun like Siamese twins. Always
$100,000 for the whiskey class submarine.
Not that people say believe you much worse. Can't believe they can't see through how you be fronting. You know the cost of anything, but you value nothing.
Try to hijack that shit.
Bitch gotta fuck to make you use a mother nature game. You be fuck all the time, take it.
No matter if the shit leaks, all you need to go under for like 2 minutes to take care of it.
Folks think of my sign.
Shoot at a submarine,
I'll make
do
a
what?
deal with you. Stop lying on me on the
Diesel power, they'll just keep going and going and going.
If I hit 5 bitches, 6 bitches back, I will show for 2 wishes. And I'm gonna keep grinding till it pulls the curtain. I don't know what makes you so whack. Nigga, it's murder, nigga, it's murder. So much people think it was a western. Violence ain't the answer. You need to rephrase the question. Yeah, I was born to be a pessimist. Even my blood type is B type negative. Refuse to go.
Live each day like it's your last. One day you'll be right. I'll go back far enough. I'll find that dollar is less relevant. Why is it stopping? It's not supposed to stop on each track. That's retarded shit. What's doing to my system? I think that might be the last one.
This week, we speak with Just Elect.
Hi, Max Kaiser. This is the Kaiser Report. Are you following Max and Stacy on our Telegram group? We're there 24 hours a day, just talking to people. It's t.me/orange pill. And join us, will you? We've got about 8,000 in there now. It's going to be the liveliest party on planet Earth. So, Stacy, remind me again what's happening in the world.
Right. Well, the big news in the past week is at the end of last week, a video was released of a conversation between the former Bank of England head, Mark Carney, now interviewing people for the Council on Foreign Relations, so a very powerful organization in America, and Larry Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock, the largest asset management firm in the world. They have $7 trillion under management. So, you know, Larry Fink is like an untouchable, right? Like, he's probably more powerful than the president. And he said to Mark Carney, this clip.
We look at it as something is real, but it's still untested. It still has many. We have to go through many markets to see if it's going to be permanently real, or it's going to be a variant of that sometime in the future. Lastly, because we're running out of time, I would just say having a digital currency has real impact on the U.S. dollar, because having a digital currency makes the need for the U.S. dollar to be less relevant. The U.S. and I'm not certain. I'm not talking about for Americans. I'm talking about for international holders of dollar-based assets. The question I would raise, and maybe another time Mark and I could talk about it, does it change the need for dollar reserve as a reserve currency?
Reserve,
if there was a true digital currency that was separated
we have to trade it
from dollar-based assets and other things like that. So many questions need to be answered before I could say, is it real or not?
So basically, Max, she's asking, does Bitcoin change the need for the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency? They came out of the mouth of an untouchable.
That's the important question. U.S. dollar as world reserve currency. Are we on the threshold of an era where it is no longer the world reserve currency after basically a 100-year run? That's the question. Now, to talk about digital currencies and about Bitcoin, these guys are still very, very early on the learning curve. Right? They don't have, they don't really talk about it in ways that tell us that they've done much due diligence, like a Michael Saylor has, for example, who really understands Bitcoin. Larry Fink is just poking at the edges. They're like, what is this Bitcoin thing? And Mark Carney, of course, is an establishment hack who would be rightfully fearful of Bitcoin because it eliminates the need for central banks. And he's a central banker through and through.
But remember, he was the very first.
It doesn't matter who came up with it.
When he was the Bank of England, head of Bank of England still, in the last month or two of that, he spoke at Jackson Hole in the United States, and he said that basically the US dollar was past its purpose. It no longer served a purpose as a
I was talking all over, so I couldn't hear nothing.
Hi, Max Kaiser. This is the Kaiser Report. Are you following Max and Stacy on our Telegram group? We're there 24 hours a day, just talking to people. It's t.me/orange pill. And join us, will you? We've got about 8,000 in there now. Going to be the liveliest party on planet Earth. So, Stacey, remind me again what's happening in the world.
Right. Well, the big news in the past week is at the end of last week, a video was released of a conversation between the former Bank of England head Mark Carney, now interviewing people for the Council on Foreign Relations, so a very powerful organization in America, and Larry Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock, the largest asset management firm in the world. They have $7 trillion under management. So, Larry Fink is like an untouchable, right? Like, he's probably more powerful than the president. And he said to Mark Carney,
the means to produce
this clip.
We look at it as something is real, but it's still untested. It still has many. We have to go through many markets.
Fucking did it again. I fucking talked right over the part where he starts talking. That's what I'm going to They get right to the point right at the beginning. It's fucking up.
Hi, Max Kaiser. This is the Kaiser Report. Are you following Max and Stacy on our Telegram group? We're there 24 hours a day, just talking to people. It's t.me/orange pill. And join us, will you? We've got about 8,000 in there now. Going to be the liveliest party on planet Earth. So, Stacey, remind me again what's happening in the world.
Right. Well, the big news in the past week is at the end of last week, a video was released of a conversation between the former Bank of England head Mark Carney, now interviewing people for the Council on Foreign Relations, so a very powerful organization in America, and Larry Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock, the largest asset management firm in the world. They have $7 trillion under management. So, Larry Fink is like an untouchable, right? Like, he's probably more powerful than the president. And he said to Mark Carney, this clip.
We look at it as something is real, but it's still untested. It still has many. We have to go through many markets to see if it's going to be permanently real, or it's going to be a variant of that sometime in the future. Lastly, we're running out of time. I would just say, having a digital currency has real impact on the U.S. dollar, because having a digital currency makes the need for the U.S. dollar to be less relevant. The U.S. and I'm not talking about for Americans. I'm talking about for international holders of dollar-based assets. The question I would raise, and maybe another time Mark and I could talk about it, does it change the need for dollar reserve as a reserve currency if there was a true digital currency that was separated from dollar-based assets and other things like that? So many questions need to be answered before I could say is it real and alive.
So basically, Max, she's asking, does Bitcoin changed the need for the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency? They came out of the mouth of an untouchable.
That's the important question. U.S. dollar as world reserve currency. Are we on the threshold of an era where it is no longer the world reserve currency after basically a 100-year run? That's the question. Now, the talk about digital currencies and about Bitcoin, these guys are still very, very early on the learning curve. They're right. They don't really talk about it in ways that tell us that they've done much due diligence, like a Michael Saylor has, for example, who really understands Bitcoin. Larry Fink is just poking at the edges. They're like, what is this Bitcoin thing? And Mark Carney, of course, is an establishment hack who would be rightfully fearful of Bitcoin because it eliminates the need for central banks, and he's a central banker through and through.
But remember, he was the very first.
The need for central banks?
When he was the Bank of England head of Bank of England, still in the last month or two of that, he spoke at Jackson Hole in the United States, and he said that basically the U.S. dollar was past its purpose. It no longer served a purpose as a reserve currency. And his idea was for digital currency, which is, I mean, Larry Fink, he was just talking about Bitcoin. He was talking about Bitcoin and then said digital currency, probably because he knows his audience is Mark Carney. Mark Carney is the one who wants CBDC, these central bank digital currencies.
Right. So, to be clear, the U.S. dollar and the British pound and the euro are currently digital currencies. They are already digital currencies. So when they say, well, do we need a digital currency? That's like saying, like, it's
digital. Yeah, you write it down with numbers. Okay, digital. I can send email transfers in my country, and there's ways I can send the same sort of thing to a different country. They'll exchange it along the way. Was it Iran or Iraq or Saudi Arabia? I can't remember. Working on the e-dinar. China's got the e-renminbi. If they're telling us about it now, they're already using it. That's the way China does things. Well, we're not using it yet, but we got wallets full of it. It's on my digital wallet right here. Not the phone, the chip in my wrist, stupid, But how? So, any which way you look at it, cryptocurrency, digital currency, the electronic currency, which somehow doesn't mean the same thing. Digital. Because there's Roman numerals, digital. Why would you? All currencies are digital. You write them down with numbers. Count them on digits. Base 10, pretty much. Is there any currency that's not base 10 on some level? How does that eliminate the need for the U.S. dollar? There's no direct connection between those two things.
Raining outside. Is it really raining outside? Yeah, it's a digital currency already. They haven't made the intellectual leap yet to understand what Bitcoin is all about. Where Bitcoin has its own monetary policy built into the protocol that's audited every 10 minutes. I mean, they're still trying to audit the Fed. In America, Paul Rand has been talking about this for decades, and they still haven't audited the Fed, and they still have no idea what's in there. Same thing with every central bank. Meanwhile, Bitcoin audits itself every 10 minutes, right? It's like watching The Walking Dead. I mean, they're The Walking Dead. These guys, I mean, what is BlackRock? They just repackage stocks as ETFs. Okay, wow, whoop-de-doo. They take an override on this. They're just rentiers. They've added absolutely nothing to the economy of substance and value.
On a positive note, Kai's report was there 10 years ago covering this and warning you of this and saying that the U.S. dollar would be displaced by Bitcoin. We said that 10 years ago. So now 10 years later, here's a guy who gets paid hundreds of millions, probably billions a year as managing $7 trillion in assets. And he's only just figuring it out now. So, positively, you're still able to watch us. You're watching us now. If you're hearing me speak, then you're watching us. So you've been able to be ahead of the curve across the world. Now, another guy, he's a smart guy, but he's a billionaire hedge fund manager, and he's been studying Bitcoin and just got in this past spring, and we covered that, Paul Tudor Jones, but he was just on Yahoo Finance, and he said he was also saying some interesting stuff, namely that the price of Bitcoin is wrong, which is really interesting. Billionaire hedge fund manager Paul Tudor Jones on Bitcoin. I'm going to assume that it's the wrong price for the possibilities that it has, and I'm going to assume that the path forward from here is north.
Yeah, I remember he uses the term precious crypto to describe Bitcoin versus, let's say, Ether, which he calls more like copper. which is an industrial crypto or industrial digital coin, and you have the precious crypto, which is Bitcoin, and so you would value it like metals, right? Gold has a huge premium, copper does not, and this is why Ethereum and these other altcoins will never achieve anything near to what Bitcoin has, because they're just like industrial metals versus precious. I remember talking to James Turk 8 years ago, and I was trying to explain to him what Bitcoin was over there at Gold Money. And I said, you have to think of it as precious numbers. Precious numbers.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
Yeah. So these are precious numbers. And so now finally Paul Tudor Jones is the gold sovereign has dropped, you know, and he understands it. As far as the price not being reflective of what the price should be, it's mispriced, right? So this is the way a Wall Street trader would talk. There's no reason to buy anything unless it's mispriced, right? The efficient market theory is completely bonkers and wrong. If there was an efficient market, nobody would ever make money outside of a market return. Like Stan Druckenmiller's been compounding money for 30% his entire career. If there was an efficient market, that would be impossible. But he does there because it's no such thing as an efficient market. All price discovery is very mispriced, I would say. It's very rarely accurately priced. So anyway, Paul Tudor Jones will say, look, the price of Bitcoin, the market cap of Bitcoin at 260 billion or what have you, is probably 500 billion would be a clearer actual price of what this should be. So this is the case for him to be buying Bitcoin right now at this price, because that would mean it's a $37,000 price at 500 billion market cap. And so now we're getting into the tens of thousands. Now we start the real fastest horse in the race, where Bitcoin starts by advancing by 10,000 at a clip. You know, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 100,000. Now we're into the real race.
So to be clear, Paul Tudor Jones misprices it himself. He says it's a $500 billion market cap. He gets that wrong by twice as much. So he's saying Bitcoin is only a $500 billion market cap. That's wrong. So he's saying it's wrong when you compare it, what it does and how it functions, to the fact that equities have a $90 trillion market cap and gold a $7 trillion market cap. So he's seeing it should be up in the trillions. It should be up in gold, he says.
Right, so that would bring it up to $400,000 or $500,000 per coin, which is what we've been saying now for 5 or 6 years on Kaiser Report. So now Paul Tudor Jones agrees with us.
Yes.
And he also agrees with my analysis to James Turk that it's a precious number. But it's the fact that he would, you know, call it a 500 billion versus 250 billion. It shows you where we are now in the cycle, because guys like Paul Tudor Jones or Stan Druckenmiller or others, they tend to think in hundreds of billions and trillions. That's their market. So like the difference between 250 billion and 500 billion is a rounding error. This is not a big deal. This is like, oh, I meant 250, but the $250 billion for Paul Tudor Jones is the way you and I would think about lunch money, right? I mean, but that's who's now attracted to the Bitcoin universe. And that's what he's saying is that, you know, it should be $8, $9, $10 trillion in value, because it is pari passu with gold. And I use that word pari passu to appeal to Paul Tudor Jones, because as a Wall Street guy, I know he likes to hear words like pari passu because it sounds so freaking elegantly European banker-like. And so, yeah, we're going to 500,000 coin, of course. And like I was saying, guys like Nouriel Roubini, it's not that he's wrong anymore, because clearly he is wrong, but he's become humiliated. And that's sad. He's become a humiliated shell of himself, desperately spewing nonsense into the wind.
That's because he's an academic, and academics can afford to fight the market. The market can be wrong in their mind because it doesn't match their paper. So bankers like Larry Fink and hedge fund managers like Paul Tudor Jones cannot fight the market.
Right, so to follow up on that, in other words, Nouriel Roubini can say that the price of Bitcoin doesn't fit his academic model until his death, and he never claimed he's ever wrong.
Yeah.
Paul Tudor Jones will say the price of Bitcoin doesn't fit my analytical model of value, and he has to prove that in the next 6 months or he's out of business.
Yes.
That's the difference. They both have models.
Yeah.
One, Nouriel can keep his model to his death, like was said not by Niels Bohr, but Planck, the physicist, when asked when will quantum theory and other theories of physicists be accepted, and he said one funeral at a time. Right? It takes a while for the old guard to die off.
according to the model in the mind of Paul Tudor Jones, he thinks Bitcoin has to be in the trillions of market cap if it is what he thinks it is. So Larry Fink is also saying, you know, the US dollar is less relevant. Here's a funny headline. And the hysteria of the headline shows actually the value of what cash means in peer-to-peer cash of Bitcoin. Bank of England criticized for losing track of 50 billion pounds of banknotes. There's a bunch of parliamentarians in the United Kingdom who are really upset that the Bank of England doesn't know where this 50 billion pounds in cash is because it's been dispersed to the people. A spokesman for Bank of England said, it is the responsibility of the Bank of England to meet public demand for banknotes. The bank has always met that demand and will continue to do so. Members of the public do not have to explain to the bank why they wish to hold banknotes. This means that banknotes are not missing. So that's the purpose of cash, right? It's anonymous. And here are some parliamentarians who are really angry that they don't know who holds this $50 billion, 50 billion pounds of cash. And that's the purpose of cash. That's why Bitcoin is peer-to-peer cash. It's your right as an individual. It's your sovereign individuality and sovereign rights to have individual sovereignty to be able to use your cash as you see fit.
Yeah, it goes back to the creation of the social contract, and you know, John Locke and the Enlightenment, and how do you establish balance between government and those being governed. And so here the Bank of England and the parliamentarian inquiry is clearly overstepping their bounds in terms of establishing the social contract. They don't understand that it's a quid pro quo, that there's a balance between these two parties. And fortunately, because of the Bitcoin's presence, the nation state as we know it is quickly coming to a close, as well as all central banks. And we can go back to a more egalitarian society where everyone is individually sovereign, and we have unconfiscatable, uncensorable hard money.
Plus, you don't want these CBDCs. You don't want a central bank digital currency because you want them to lose this 50 billion pounds.
Yeah, I've already forgotten about it. But we're going to take a break, and when we come back, much more coming your way.
When old truths seem wrong, when old rules just don't hold, and a new world is yet to shape out, disdain becomes the etiquette, and engagement equals betrayal. When so many find themselves worlds apart, we choose to look for common ground.
Yeah, because if you get rid of us off the common ground, you pretend it's yours.
Problem drugs don't always come from unscrupulous dealers.
What?
But from pharmacies too.
In every state in the United States, we've seen a very sharp increase in the number of people seeking treatment for addiction to prescription opioids.
Opioids invaded America under the banner of medicine.
He persisted with the pain, but instead of trying to wean him off, though, she just dose after dose after dose after dose, and really became his drug dealer.
So who's to blame? Patients, doctors, manufacturers, or the government?
The patients themselves.
Welcome back to the Kaiser Report. I'm Max Kaiser. Time now to turn to our conversation with Vijay Boyapati. Vijay, welcome back.
Thanks, Max.
All right. So, to be clear, you are a Bitcoin entrepreneur. We follow you on Twitter. You've been in the Bitcoin space for a while now and have a lot of very insightful things to say. Now, we were talking about price predictions.
CITE or SIGHT?
Talking about $300,000 in 2021 for Bitcoin. This kind of maps your work a little bit there. So let me ask you, in terms of inflows, capital inflows, you see Bitcoin draining investment dollars away from the stock market rather than from gold. So elaborate on this thesis around when you think Bitcoin might instead impact the gold market, or are we already seeing Bitcoin impact the gold market? And can we anticipate that Bitcoin's market cap would at some point equal that of the gold market? VJ?
I think absolutely it's going to equal gold's market cap, because I think Bitcoin it performs the same functions of gold, but it's just better at all of the attributes that make gold good as a store of value. So I do expect in medium term gold will attain and eclipse gold's market capitalization. If you look at the ownership distribution of gold, it's really interesting because Bitcoin and gold are close cousins in the family of global financial assets, but their ownership distributions are very, very different. The three primary holders of gold are, number one, ironically, central banks. Number two, people in places like India who keep a lot of their savings in the form of jewelry. And number three, wealthy individuals, family offices, and so forth who use gold funds, ETFs like GLD to get investment exposure. I do not see the first two core sources of demand for gold shifting yet into Bitcoin. So I don't think central banks are going to enter Bitcoin in a big way in this cycle, or people who own jewelry in India. I do think family offices and wealthy individuals are already shifting and considering Bitcoin as an alternative to gold, and viewing it as an investment which is more of an asymmetric bet than gold. So I think we'll see a shift from that aspect. But in the current inflationary environment, I think both of them can do well, while some of that third source of demand for gold is going to swing over to Bitcoin.
Well, we know BlackRock, who is the number one purveyor of ETFs,
the budget process,
they recently came out with a report suggesting that a lot of people were dumping their gold ETFs and moving their money into Bitcoin. So we do see some of that movement right now. So let me ask you this. In your immediate community where you live, you're interacting with people every day. Are you getting a sense that Bitcoin is becoming part of that day-to-day conversation, or is it still way far on the fringes? And do you talk to people about it? And who do you talk to about it? Usually, people in your age group, for example, or how does that work? And tell us a little bit about that, your personal, experience.
So I'm a computer scientist by training. I'm a former Google engineer. And certainly in my circles, people have been talking about Bitcoin for quite a while. They're interested in it as a nascent technology and as a new monetary good. But I also think it's sort of spreading out into the wider population. We have a nanny at home to help us with our kids, and I remember at the end of the last bull market, she started asking me about Bitcoin. And I knew at that stage of the bull market that was probably coming to a close of the bull market. I think in this cycle, people have been primed to be interested in Bitcoin because in the prior cycle, they had heard a little bit about it from someone they knew, or they got a tiny bit of exposure. These are people who are now primed to allocate some or significant savings into Bitcoin. So I expect as we proceed in this bull market, at the end of next year, around Thanksgiving, it's going to be the topic that everyone's going to be talking about, just as they were in 2017.
Speaking of BlackRock, the CEO, Larry Fink, and of course they're a $7 trillion asset management company, he believes that Bitcoin can displace the US dollar as a global trade unit of account. Now again, this is an incredible statement where even 6 months ago, nobody would suggest that Larry Fink would utter those words. And yet this has been a very, very rapid global learning curve, has exploded on the upside. But what do you think about this idea that the Bitcoin could replace US dollar as a global trade unit of account, BJ?
I think it absolutely will. I wrote an article called The Bullish Case for Bitcoin, and I ended with a quote from Charles de Gaulle, where he said, we want to reestablish the world as it used to be on a monetary base, which is not controlled by any nation. And I think nations across the world resent the exorbitant privilege that the US has in controlling the world's reserve currency.
You've dumped on it 8 times in the last 30 seconds or so. Can you fuck off? Obviously, I don't want to hear the fucking quote. The kid's retarded. Oh, me with my eyes closed and my face frozen. I'm so terrified and impacted. What does that mean to you? What does eyes closed mean to you? Sleep's irrelevant. I don't sleep. I pass the fuck up from anemia.
We go back and forth. Middle of the town, up and down like the merry-go-round. They got us once and I'll be back with a squad. Falling down, wasn't rapping like Patrick. I need my whip gas power. What the fuck's electric? Standing on the towers in the winds and it's hectic. We had our own death penalties and followed Texas. Our names on the guest list, so yours request a death wish. I'm fresh when I step in. One shot.
That was still a little long, but so why did it take so far? We gotta finish the quote and say 8 more seconds worth of bullshit. Oh God.
Money make the world go round. Money make your girl go down. We go back and forth. Middle of the town,
so
up and down like the merry-go-round. They got us once, but now we back with a squad. Hold it down. Wasn't rapping like Kendrick. I need my whip gas power. What the fuck's electric? Standing on the towers in the winds and it's hectic. We had our own death penalties and
what are you researching on the internet today?
Yours request a death wish. I'm fresh when I step in. One shot will lay this pussy out like you slept in. Charlie boy, you know him for his repertoire. And I'm a docs from the reservoir. 91 and Top Pump 3 was never regular. Catch me in the condo penthouse.
As for the
magazines
reserve
like
curse,
penthouse. Shoot it through your ribs. Throw you from the penthouse. This Red Bull will give you wings. Here's your energy drink. It's mixed with blood in it. You can never care for that girl. You got no love in it. These niggas faker than they gon' relationships. But in case you flip and talk shit, got receipts.
They know it's fully exchangeable with a bank in China for banknotes of renminbi.
I got receipts, nigga.
It's easier for them to get paid that way, faster and with less interference from outside forces.
I kept all my receipts, nigga.
Or, it's a price. Pounds comes first, then euros. Way down the list of US dollars. We have bank accounts with 7 currencies.
Did that even register? I got receipts like a cash register, moving like Seneca, holding that ruler like I'm gonna measure size. You couldn't enter my enterprise. I hop up like surprise. Niggas get paid like a pop-up. When I pop up, I pop up. Or your mama bought you that chain, get that little shot took. You wasn't holding down your castle, you an old-time rook. You was pumping with a crook, you never knew had connections here. Make trying to fit, couple ones getting exit here. Sure the head and wanna talk about it. Now she blocked me off the gram and I feel I can't go on without it. So I spit it in the soul hip hop. New age 2018, I will lick shots. Used to walk around the jail with the soap in the sock. I'm the hardest, it's like coke in a pot. Got receipts, nigga.
I have a 25 Dutch guilders and whatever, quarter guilder. Coin, as far as I know, it's the same as a Dutch quarter coin. It's not the same size.
I got receipts, nigga.
It's not intended all the way back to the
I swear to God, I got receipts, nigga.
Now the punch points, there's stamped and trade pounds. China saw a lot of trade pounds for 400 years.
The demon is a liar. He would like to confuse us. But he will also mix lies with the truth to attack us. He attacks psychological, powerful, such a mix. Remember that. Do not listen.
This is real life shit, can't change it for an instant. Blood, sweat, and tears, now everyone's against it. Trying to step in our way, man, your ass will get popped. Got homies on every corner, none afraid to get shot. You hear it drop. comes the end of your life. Hollow points cutting through you like the edge of a knife. It's getting harder to see. Step away from the light, cause I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. What?
That is incredible.
I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. What? Yeah, I stole your soul tonight. Devil in disguise. Stole your soul tonight.
As you wake up in the dark and not realizing I'm
Sounds like two. Be careful. The timing of when you choose to fucking harass the fuck out of us is really pathetic.
Yeah, my name is Riley,
What the fuck
son.
are you doing?
But you know, niggas call me.
You notice the track paused, and then decided to play again and skip, right? I didn't hit forwards or back or none of that shit. I can give a fuck less. I can hear the sirens anyway, obviously. I'm just turning the music off so anybody else might know I'm actually saying something that's actually happening. I tend to do things that way when idiots that harass and stalk you and want to fuck you in the ass are constantly accusing you of things that could possibly happen. I've been smoking weed since I was 16. Somehow at the age of 36, I suddenly developed schizophrenic disease, and I caught it somehow from hanging out with niggers and smoking weed. It makes it sort of come out, you know. This is the way people talk about it, because they actually believe the dumb shit they're told, as long as it's self-serving. The doctor's reason was to get a piece of $700 a dose. She's not that smart. She got a $350,000 a year job, or should be. She's trying to hustle $700, like a piece off from $700. No, she thought it would be 500 and change because I started on the 100 milligrams, so that's not strong enough. She still didn't clue in. I like that drug.
AKA Riley Escobar, you know what I'm saying? Cause I be in the street.
Don't get close.
No.
Rooney, what up? Rooney, White, what up? What up? It's rolled up. I'm a Rooney like Oda. You would not make it, and I'm not hating. I see.
Please keep it up. This is fucking wonderful, and I can barely tell that you're fucking doing that. Let's do one track at a time every 45 fucking seconds. Holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with people? This is how you harass people. Like, I give a shit. I had about 15 minutes to kill. Now I've got 6, which means like 4. I could care less, but you're retarded. The track I'm looking for is only 4 minutes long. I would have to play it back. You're fucking retarded, bro.
Communication screw-ups at help. This week, Malibu First Nation.
Yes, nigga. Word ticket. Free Slim. We out OG. Don't get close, nigga.
Finishing all at once.
She's the white, she's the 990s, so don't sleep, yo. Nigga, we are one, won't matter who it is, bound to get the job done. The Critians got the shooters behind. She's the white, she's the 990s, so don't sleep, nigga, we are one, don't matter who it is, bound to get the job done. On the same shit, running with the same click, never gonna change, no, nigga, only change hoes. And the pool, only if it's fucking up. Play some aiming niggas above the button. Working hard in the paint, no patch of fucking up. Repatch a clip, that to get our shit up. Every other option is a stick up. Never a 9 to 5, cause I ain't got no day job.
Okay, this time I left the Wi-Fi off. What's the screenshot every time?
30 when it sprays on. I'm 22, so walk around 3/8 for the beef. 40 to lick them down, the max for the UC. Heard niggas saying that they wanna make tracks with us. Before that, didn't even crack to us. Going hard in the booth, it's a takeover. Hard in the ground into your face, that's a makeover. 25 or a Q, the rest profit. Hustlers, when I say won't sleep till I knock it. And don't push me, cause I ain't in the top. 12-year-old who's why it's here if you got it. Y'all got it.
The 8-second delay is like
Welcome to Mi'kmaq Matters, a podcast about the Mi'kmaq people and the Hellebu First.
Their eyes get closed, frozen. What does that mean to you? It don't mean nothing to me.
So what then is?
That's what I mean by pathology. You don't seem to get it. Nobody gives a fuck what you do. Go ahead, hack away. There's 100 other people hacking this shit, looking your ass up. I'm convinced it's gotta be DIA
I'm from the West End.
Unless it's some state level corrections, you gotta be some like Guantanamo Bay, some military personnel that got accused of sex.
I'm from the West End. Yo, I'm coming
No,
straight from the West
follow
End.
everything. Fucking calm now. Wow, did you yank his ass away from the terminal?
You know that my niggas be pressing. Heavy artillery weapons. Ain't really into the question. I ain't condoning no violence. These youngins are wildin'. They
And the weirdo shit you do, it looks like it's intended to hypnotize a small child. Your friend in the TV set or something.
Didn't even want to slap the nigga, he made me. Ain't nobody telling me nothing. I knew from a youngin' that I be the one I hit. And now all of these rappers is bugging. You live in the
Almost
bird.
40. Like the age of just being a pedophile thing is wrong up. You're just pissed off.
When I'm on my
Piece of shit,
backwood,
never
better have
got it.
rubber. I never leave the house without my iPhone charger. Wallahi, my money's a rocker.
This must have our fucking age.
African man, that's my
We should have never hung out with niggers or gang members.
Tell them the
truth. You're on the fucking radio talking about kids joining gangs. They don't join gangs.
Lie in the booth. What's then got the realest?
Oh, they're coming from families where this doesn't
I'm
happen.
living proof.
But those families lied and stole
we
for
got the
fucking
juice.
generations.
We got the juice. So we got the juice.
So the kids will get us. What's the most money they can make is by having the most money to reinvest. Don't get that term, wop up, stupid. We don't run nothing.
I'm from the West End. I'm from the
We don't need plays. Put them away for 30, 40, 50, 60. Why would the fuck would I give a shit about that?
Good strip, jungle to the Rex we deep, Rex we deep. I can tell a West End nigga by the way you speak, by the way you speak. Birds tripping out in the hood, always lose they beats, lose they beats. Know that shotty with bodies got dumped in the creek. Stop, freeze, what I mean looking for me. Look, chick, I got that degree, what do you mean? Bitch, you don't know what I seen. Bitch, you ain't been on the scene, record is clean. I'm too wavy, make your man wanna date me. I got the sauce, gravy, more than they cannot replace me. Cause I'm from the West End. Bitch, nigga, better watch that top. Find like you top to the clock, go when the turn out.
That's the government can produce.
I'm from the West End.
These idiots are too stupid to buy the black market stuff.
Y'all what a black girl crew. Let me show you what a black girl do. But you didn't know that. I'm from the
Mid-grade's
West End.
18%. Their top end is like 24.
I'm from the West End.
Look, I got 24%. Wow, these guys are bragging about it in the lobby. I think you're all dead.
I'm from the West End. Nigga, what you saying?
What happened to that? All right.